two guests, two people that are going to be guests. We're going to have Rich Fassett. So I'm going to explain to you who Rich is. Rich is a guy who was on Kill Tony about a year ago, and he was like one of the open micers who went up on stage, and he made fun of Tony by doing an impression of him. And in the actual episode, they edited him out of it, and it became this whole thing. And he ended up going on to film a video where he's like, "Hey, I was on the show and I got edited out," and then this other guy came on and did the same thing. And he claims he got the biggest laugh of the night. And it became this controversy where Tony had to admit that he edited him out, but he didn't do it directly. He made Brian Redband come and say, "Sometimes we edit people out. Sometimes." So he'll be joining us. He's going to tell us the whole experience that he went through, and then there's a whole other element to it that you guys have no idea, and it's going to be very funny when I explain to you what actually happened, because there's a Redbar connection to this. And then Mark Harley is going to be joining us again. He's going to come back. This time, it doesn't have to be 6 hours about a guy who doesn't matter, but we're just going to talk about, you know, anything and everything. So there's no pressure to talk about you-know-who. Maybe we'll do like an in memoriam for him. It's kind of funny how his story ended. But anyway, welcome guys. Thank you for joining. Sorry, let me look at the chat here. Redbar's watching. I hope so. I hope he is, because he sure ain't reacting, that's for sure. Let's see if he does. Apparently I've been told that he has seen clips of the previous episode and Mark doing the impression of him, and I keep being told that he's gonna react to it, and it never happens. I'm not holding my breath. I think Mike doesn't like me. I don't think Mike likes me. Why would that be? I don't know. Why would that be? Let's take a look. Who's here? Hey, Robin's here. Thank you, Robin. I got comments working now. Last time they weren't working because I scheduled it outside of this. So now I can pop people's comments up there. We got Kif Dunnage here. Howdy. Thank you, Kif Dunnage, for coming by. We got May Noodles. May Noodles in the house. Cordy281 still beefing with Redbar. No, I don't have beef with Redbar. I wouldn't consider it beef. I would say I had critiques of Redbar. And I can get into that story too, because that whole story was told completely wrong and in favor and bias of Redbar, which is what he does. But no, I enjoyed his show. I watched it from probably season 18, 19, and probably the early episodes of season 20. And I just haven't been caught up with it for a while. Here we go. We got Miss Max 3, Yo from TF, Germanicus. Hey, are you going to be excited? Mark's going to be coming back. Unbleached is here. Gibbs, me that. Here we got David Hayter. Redbar's watching. Of course he is. What else is he doing? Crickets, yeah. You know what that means. I'm not going to say anything. Let's see who else is here. Malice in Wonderland. Thank you. Oh, you became a member. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Yes, you become a member. There are tiers there. You don't have to do it. It's not, you don't have to. I don't care. But I will be doing like live streams and videos that are for members only. If you want to join, we can commit internet crimes together. Does that sound interesting? Sure will be interesting if you're there. Static Ilmatic, hell yeah. The show doesn't last 6 hours, rewrite. No, I can't. See, this is the problem. This is like a whole thing. We're supposed to be going somewhere tomorrow. I can't say where, but we were like last minute deciding when it was going to happen and if it was going to happen, and it looks like it's going to. So I might have to wake up at like 9 a.m. tomorrow or leave by 9 a.m. or something. I don't know. It's crazy to me. Thomas Daly is in here. He says the Comedy Shaman has twice the viewership. Oh, good for Comedy Shaman. Shout out to Comedy Shaman. Hope he's doing well. Lisa gives a thumb up. Thank you. Indigo Ginzo, Redbar's colostomy bag misses you. Bleach says Redbar watching Jules ride Lamar. Okay. Let me get Rich on here. And we could talk to him about his story. But yeah, it was an interesting week. Holy crap. Holy crap. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it, but it is kind of so funny and interesting. I could do maybe an in memoriam just quickly of the guy we covered on the last episode, the TFATK guy who runs the TFATK channel. Apparently that channel is gone now. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. It's totally gone. And then this man found out that he was actually dating a 61-year-old Hispanic man, apparently. And he was very embarrassed, and he left the internet last night. He did like a 6-hour stream. It was his last stream, and he's leaving the internet for 6 months, apparently. But good luck to him. I hope he finds a job or something. Let's see who else. Soup Party. Hey, Loss, someone was impersonating you in my Discord server. Wasn't you, right? Might have been. I don't know. There's a lot of me out there. I think there's like 6 different people that are me. That's what I heard, at least. Jaffa says, yo. Hi, Jaffa. A lot of new faces here. Johnson Green, 911. Mrs. Max. Hi, Mr. Cardinal. Shout outs. Yeah, I'm catching up here quickly. Wush, Immortal Joe is the one whose daughter thinks you look like Toby Maguire. Haha. I've heard that before. I've heard some people say I look like Harry Potter. Oh, maybe I look like Harry Potter. Rich is having issues here. He says, it says I need Safari. No, it works on Chrome. Just click the link, Rich, just click the link. Open it in your browser there. I can catch you up with some of this stuff. Let me see. Let me show you who Rich is, first off. You guys refresh your memory here. So he went on Kill Tony, and the whole concept of the show is that it's mostly open micers and stuff. And then they go on stage and they get a time limit to do their set. And usually Joe Rogan or some sort of guest is there to rate them, I guess, or roast them back. And Rich went on the show and he did an impersonation of Tony and made fun of him. And apparently the whole crowd loved it. And what happened was when the actual episode came out, his part was completely gone and he was confused. And so what he does here is he kind of reenacts what he does, which is kind of hard to do. If you do, I guess, a stand-up act to reenact the thing you did, it's not going to be as funny. So I guess that kind of sucks that he doesn't have the actual tape. But this is what he claimed he did, and that was edited out. And they admitted that they edited him out. So let's look.
All right, so this is the set that got removed. This is my impersonation of every Kill Tony episode. Everybody give it up for the great Hans Kim, everybody. Hans Kim. Hans, how's it going?
It's going good. You know, I just banged some homeless lady like 2 hours ago.
Hell yeah. And that was it. That was it. I was going to do impersonation of all the regulars. LSH, David Lucas, William Montgomery. I couldn't even get that far because the crowd erupted. Absolutely fucking erupted. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't expecting that. I only got 20 seconds through my set, and then that happened. And Tony was so tight. He was so fucking tight. He was giving me a lot of shit during the interview. He was cursing out his band and the audience for betraying him. You can ask anybody who was there in the live audience, obviously. I'd appreciate it if you could confirm what I'm saying because this all happened. It was probably the best set in Kill Tony history. It was the loudest set. And Tony didn't like it. Tony didn't like that. The fact that an open mic comic like myself, who's been on stage only a dozen times in his life, fucking killed at his expense. And I was looking forward to getting a little bit of recognition. I told everybody back home in Jersey, where I'm from, that I was going to be on the #1 live podcast in the world. And for him to remove my set over a harmless little impersonation joke is absolutely, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. He could dish it. He can make fun of all the other comics. He can mock. He imitated almost every comic who came to the stage that night. Even Pauly Shore he mocked near the end. And you can see the edit, because I went on after Sarah, the blonde chick. The microphone is in Tony's left hand as she's leaving the stage. And the very next shot, the microphone is in his right hand. So in between that, I was on the show. And you can see it in the comment section where somebody said that they removed the last comic out of the bucket that's weak. And where's the guy who impersonated Tony during his entire set? They must have edited him out, and they sure did. It's kind of disgusting, and thank you, Gabe, for inspiring me to do this video. I hope you guys see it. And yeah, it just sucks. I lost a lot of respect for Tony. I'll never watch his stupid show again. I'll never listen to him again. So there you go.
So yeah, that's what happened. He's having issues. Okay, here he is finally. Rich finally got on here. Hey, Rich, how are you?
Yo, what's going on, dude?
Hey, what's up? Sorry, I didn't explain much of how this works. I just sent him the link and now it's working. How you been?
I'm good. Yeah, I apologize. I'm not the most tech savvy guy out there.
No worries. So let's get straight into it. I want to start with, like, can you kind of describe what the experience is like being on Kill Tony, like from the start of getting there and then the whole process of it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I was shitting bricks the entire day. But yeah, I drove downtown, I found a garage to park in, and I'm waiting outside for over an hour in 100-degree heat. I'm in my sleeveless shirt. I'm in my cargo short sweats, or my sweat shorts, and I'm just waiting for an hour, and then we get packed in like sardines in the back room. We're all standing there, and that went on for 2 hours. And then I had some sort of like just intuition, I guess, that if I went down there, like I was gonna get called up, and I was the last bucket pull before William, and I was just like shitting bricks. But I was confident in my set because I practiced it in the mirror. I practiced it for an hour, and I thought like it would get laughs. Impersonations are my bread and butter, so yeah, I just left it all on the stage, and it was one of the best nights of my life.
Now this takes place at, where is it, the Comedy Mothership? But did that exist at that point or no? This is before that?
Yeah, this was at the Vulcan Gas Company. This was before the Comedy Mothership opened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And is Tony a guy that you like, or do you think is a good comedian? I'm curious what your opinion of him is.
I'm not like his biggest stand-up fan. I haven't seen too much of his stand-up, but I've been a fan of his for the longest time because of his roasts. I remember growing up and watching his roast on MTV. And, even though like I would come up with roasts against him, I had like a whole notebook full. It was like, if I ever get the chance to go against Tony in a roast battle, like this is what I would say and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, he's witty, he's quick, he's funny. I don't have any ill will towards him.
Okay, that's nice of you, actually, considering what ended up happening. So you went on stage, you did an impersonation. Was that like, how long do you get when you're on Kill Tony to do your set? Like, what do they tell you? It's like 30 seconds or something? How long is it?
So you get a minute 15 tops uninterrupted. And then they proceed to interview for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending if they like you or not.
And you did the whole time just an impersonation of him the entire time?
Yeah, so I just let out. I was like, this is my impersonation of every Kill Tony episode. And then I just got into the exchange with him and Hans Kim. Um, you know, they're always talking about
Hans Kim.
Hans Kim, give it up for the great Hans Kim. Hell yeah, Hans. So I was just making fun of the exchange that they have, always talking about Hans having sex with random girls. And Tony's, you know, Tony's voice. That's it. And then I was gonna get into all the regulars, but I never made it that far. The crowd just they erupted. I didn't plan for that to happen. So I kind of had to let it ride. I didn't want to talk over them.
Wait, you didn't
And
plan for the crowd to laugh? Is that what you're saying?
obviously not, but I was confident in my set.
Yeah.
I didn't plan for it to go, you know, like,
Was
oh, you know,
was that your first time on stage in front of people?
no,
No.
no.
How many times would you say? Like you were fairly new to it, I think you said, right?
Yes, I've been on stage probably a dozen times.
And that was the biggest laugh you received, you would say? Also because it's a bigger venue, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was close to the one I actually performed out of all places in a rehab, bro. They had a talent show, and I went up there in front of like 70 people and just did impersonations of staff members and clients and killed. And it was an amazing feeling. And everybody's like, oh, you know, stay sober, and you know, you got a gift, and you know, keep working at the comedy. And you know, I know we're not talking about, you know, drugs or whatever, but I got out of rehab in February 2020. We all know what happened a month later. But
no, we
yeah,
can get into that because that actually connects to what we'll get into later. So
yeah.
that's awesome though that you went to rehab. So you're sober now?
Yeah, I just celebrated 4 years.
Wow, awesome. Congratulations, man.
Thanks,
Good for
buddy.
you. Good for
Thank
you. So you go on there, you do the impersonation, people laugh, they're erupting, right? And you think, oh, this is going to be great. I can't wait to see this when they air it. And then what ends up happening is the episode comes out and you're looking through it. And what's your reaction when you see that you're not in it? Because you remember you said, I forget the comedian's name who goes on after, he does what you did and gets the same laugh, correct?
Yeah, William Montgomery.
William Montgomery, right. So you're watching the episode, you don't see yourself. What do you think when that happens?
Oh, I was bummed out, dude, obviously.
You thought it was just an edit, or did you automatically go, oh, he edited me out because people laughed at me making fun of him? Did you have that thought at first?
Yeah, so they're on a 3-week delay before they air on YouTube, and it didn't dawn on me the possibility of him editing out my set until the night prior. I was talking to one of my friends back home in New Jersey, and he was asking me, oh, like, what was the interview? Like, what was he asking you? I was like, well, it wasn't really much of an interview. He was kind of like just bashing me, the crowd, the audience. And then it dawned on me. I was like, he might have pulled my set. And then I was like, no, it's Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, he's got nothing to prove, you know. So I watched it with full anticipation of me being in there. And then when they went from that girl to William Montgomery, I was just bummed out. I was frustrated, and subsequently made that video the very next day. You know, I was caught up in my emotions. Didn't have enough time to process it all. So that's why that video came out the way it did. Just a lot of bitterness and a lot of anger. And just, you know, a lot of embarrassment too, because I told a lot of people that I was going to be on this show, and a lot of people were tuning in to watch me. And then for me not to be on that, it makes me look like a lying, you know, scumbag.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, because you tell all your friends and you're like, oh, I'm going to get to show them, everybody, what I did. And then it's not there. So you go on Reddit first, right? And you make a video. Like, how do you get the video out there first to let people know that you were taken out of the episode?
So one of the fans of the show commented in the YouTube section of that episode. He was replying to one of my comments where I said, oh, it was edited out and blah, blah, blah. And he suggested that I make a video of me explaining what happened. And so I did that. And somebody posted it to Vimeo or whatever, and then it got onto Reddit, the Kill Tony thread. So that's how that got out there.
So now, fast forward, we don't hear much, right? And then eventually what ends up happening is Brian Redban films a video. I couldn't find it. I tried looking on YouTube for it. Maybe it was on his social media. He films a video where he essentially takes blame for taking you out. He doesn't say you by name, I don't think. He just goes, yeah, so basically when we're doing the show, sometimes comedians get edited out if it's not good, or if it is. Sometimes we just have to take people out. But his excuse was very, I don't know, weak. He didn't really give a good reason for why you were taken out, because you, as you said, you got such a good reaction from it. Why would they take that out? And he basically ended up saying that it was Tony's decision to take it out, because he gets the last say on who gets cut out.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, it was all on Tony. And the video that Redban made was his little VR podcast. It's complete cringe. It's like an animated version of him playing video games or whatever.
I've seen that. Yeah, he's got the VR headset on, and he's like a fake furry or something.
Yeah, like the Wendy's girl or something. That's exactly. But yeah, he covered that story for like 5 minutes, and he basically said that I brought the show to a complete halt, that I was disruptive, and basically saying that I was drunk and you know, one of these people who was promoting his TikToks, and nothing could be further from the truth. That's why his explanation sounds so weak. It's because there's a bunch of bullshit. But again, like, I have no ill will toward Redban. I know it wasn't his decision. It sucks that he's getting on the internet and spreading a bunch of lies, and including, you know, me in it, and saying that you know, I was disruptive to the show.
Were you don't have to say if you don't want to, were you intoxicated during your set? Were you drunk or anything? Because that's what they claimed.
No,
not at all.
Not at all. No, I was sober.
Why would they think that?
I don't know. And he was saying my impersonations were so bad, but like, if it was so bad, you know, how many comics do they leave in that are so bad? And it's just open season on their ass. It's cannon fodder.
The majority of, my opinion, the majority of them.
That's the formula for the show, man.
It is kind of it is a weird show. I've seen it a couple times. It's gotten very huge. Like recently, they've exploded. They're getting like millions of views, like 1 million views in some of these episodes. And I guess maybe now it takes place in the comedy mothership, I think, right? They moved into that. So that's part of it, I'm sure. But I don't know. Personally, me, I don't get the show. I like the idea of giving comics a chance to get up on stage and have a spotlight on them. But yeah, a lot of the comics that go on there don't seem to have any experience whatsoever. And I guess it kind of creates some funny, awkward moments. But it's weird. It's like, if anyone's disruptive, it's the people that are on the panel. Like, I've seen like Joe Rogan sometimes come there. He's drunk off his ass and he's just screaming stuff out, and then he'll bomb, and then the crowd just like doesn't respond or anything. Or Tony will say something that's not funny, usually all of the time, in my opinion. So it's a strange dynamic, and there's been these weird back and forths where they start arguing with the comedian on stage. So it's really like, I don't know, it's a weird format, but it's become really popular. So I guess that sucks to think that you were on it and now you don't have the video. At least if you had the video to prove what happened, and then you could be like, okay, if I didn't get laughs and I was such a drunk and I was such a disruption, show us the video. That's what he should have done. He should have taken the video and showed it to people to be like, look, this is the proof. Like, how hard would that have been to upload it? Instead, he got on, he made Brian Redban take the blame for it. And that kind of leads into something else that's funny. So Redbar, right? He decides to cover this whole thing, and he plays the whole thing of you talking about being edited out of the clip. And then he offers you, I believe, $300.
Yes.
He reaches out to you. So can you explain the messages back and forth just from the beginning, not the ending part, because I'll reveal that at the end, but the beginning, he like reaches out to you, right? And messages you?
Yeah, of course. I had no idea who Redbar was or what his show was about. He
Yeah.
reached out to me via Facebook about a week after the episode aired and I was edited out of. He said, um, don't worry, heard about your Kill Tony story. Don't worry, we got your back. Um, so I was like, what the hell? So I looked him up. Who is Redbar? Found out about his show, Redbar Radio. I paid $11 for the membership fee just to listen to the episode.
Ooh.
It was it was a Scars Club. Well, what are you gonna do? He did cover me for 45 minutes. So
Yeah, there you go. That's worth $11.
yeah, it was
So he
worth.
paid you, Mike. He paid you. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So yeah, he reached out and yeah, during his covering of my story, he said he was going to give me $300, and like they made it seem like it was so sincere because Jules was in the background, like make sure you don't decline the Cash App and ask to send it again or whatever the case may be. And I didn't know who this guy was. Like he looked like he had a lavish studio. He looked like he had some money. He looked like he was trying to help other people out. I didn't know that it was a gaff that he does or whatever. So yeah, and then
let me jump in here a bit because it's kind of hard to explain. Because now it's weird to say it because now it's not a goof anymore. But it used to be. It used to be a goof. What he would do is he would offer people what he considers small sums of money to him, right? And the goof is, especially a guy trying to be a comedian. A comedian is his worst enemy. That's the person he hates the most. And in his head, thinking, I will present you $300 and he's going to make this big spectacle out of it. And then you accepting that money is the goof. It's like you are so desperate that you actually took the money. Ooh, you actually took the money. He took the money. He took the money. That's what he was going to do. And I knew this because I had been watching the show from season 18 until the beginning of season 20. And I've seen him do this before. Like, and a lot of people don't know there's like a Facebook group attached to the show. So a lot of the ridicule happens behind the scenes. And then Mike doesn't have to present himself as the actual bad guy. So I knew of this because they were talking about you in his bring back group and laughing that you had sent a message saying, hey, is the $300 for real? And they're like, oh, he's actually accepting the money. He's actually accepting the money. It's like, so would you motherfuckers if you were offered $300. You know how many times now, recently I keep hearing, oh, he's giving $100 out for people who find a clip of someone mentioning him, or, oh, he feels like being generous and he's actually giving money out now. He's sending a laptop to some guy who has money already for some reason, a used laptop, but nonetheless, this is a laptop, right? It's free, but the guy who got it was rich, so it was kind of funny. Not rich, but he was wealthy. So now it's not a goof anymore, and I think he was bullied into not goofing about it anymore because it is kind of tasteless to be like, hey man, I'm gonna give you $300, and if anyone's going to go, oh no, Mike was sincere, you're just being an asshole and you ruined it for him, he didn't get $300. Okay, so this is what happens next. I reach out to you and I say, hey, I think that Mike is going to play a goof on you. This is what he does. He tries to offer people money and he's going to have you on and make a big deal out of presenting you $300. Like you're an idiot for accepting it. And what is my proof of it? What ends up happening is I say to Rich, this is what's going to happen. And you message him because you heard about what happened with Sam Tripoli. So Redbar goes back and forth with Joey Diaz and Sam Tripoli. And they get into a conflict over Mike singing a song about Sam Tripoli's kids, calling them retards and saying all kinds of heinous stuff. Obviously, it was a joke or whatever, but Sam Tripoli does not take it that way and decides to go to Mike's house and knock on the door to his condo and start ringing him. And so yeah, he was like kind of on edge about people at that point, I guess. So I had told you that story, and then you wrote a message to him. Let me see if I could find it. I actually have here. Look, I have. This is the message that Mike posted. He said, the guy who is edited out of Kill Tony. And you wrote, I paid the $11 membership. You were telling the truth. You really went in depth and covered every aspect. It was a great watch. Is there any way I could log in or send it to people? Is the $300 Cash App real, or was that a joke? Now, the response to this, if you see here, is all laughing emojis, 178 people. And then the comments, obviously, were them like, he's going to take the money. He's going to take the money. So you end up writing to him. I have this first screenshot from earlier on, and then I have your direct one.
Right.
You basically, wait, no, it's this one first. You basically say that.
Yep.
So he writes to Mike, and you say, I hope Tripoli finds you and guts you like a pig, you unsuccessful hack who couldn't cut it as a comic. Because you're a miserable fuck. Go hide in your basement in Tucson. They're going to find you, bitch. And this is where he would do the explosion sound effect. And he writes back, holy, ha ha, best part about all this, you were wrong. You got all worried and insecure and thought it was a setup. Why? Because I didn't message you back fast enough? And then you write, he said, well, this makes a much better story. Peace. This is his whole thing when he gets into conflicts with people, like, oh no, I'm going to go into the BBG and post this and they're all going to make fun of you. Like, it's the scariest thing ever. And you wrote back, oh no, my bad. Can you still send me the $300 then? Cash App, suck my dick. 69 is my Cash App. Oh, sorry, here. Suck my dick 69 is my Cash App. If that doesn't work, try drop dead, you psycho talentless hack. One of them should work. Okay, so now he reads this, and then my point is proven, right? So I have messages with you, which is hold on, this is in the video that I ended up making about this whole thing. It's called the Redbar Clipper story. And of course, what I ended up saying to you is, this is what he's going to do now. Because you messaged him that, he already had the whole bit prepared. And he's mad that I was able to predict all of this shit. He had a whole speech about, oh, you shouldn't be able to predict your hosts. You don't want your host to be predictable. Well, then don't be predictable then, because what ended up happening here is he had a gigantic check ready for you, right? Yeah. And he was going to present you a giant check for $300. And his whole bit was fucked up. And I said to you in the message, and I proved this in the video, he's going to cross your name out and put Brian Redban. I'm giving it to him now because he edited you out because you suck now. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And so this is the video that I put after the fact. And he got very upset about this. He did write, ha ha ha, this is good.
I saw
right
that
here. Yeah. He was trying to win me back, I guess. Ha ha ha, this is good. So there you go. Mike liked it.
He's scared.
So if you guys were upset, Mike likes this.
Have even run off all the good clippers. They're too scared. I've caused too much of an issue, I guess. Because now no one's clipping nothing.
The way this went down, this is my call. I gotta vouch for this myself.
Clipping a famous rat would put me a cunt hair away from being made.
We did get recognized, though, the other day.
He might have recognized me at the gas station. He could lam anytime.
love this part.
This guy Lossless
He's the worst.
was good.
Oh.
All of them. I've never really had a problem with any of them.
You know he was shitting his pants at this point. He's like, what's happening? What's going on? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Mike. You're lucky. You're lucky, Mike. I spared you.
Oh, God. Lossless, good.
Lossless. Lossless. Lossless.
And the YouTube
There it is.
clippers. I mean, you
There
should
it
see.
is.
I can't even say who these people are anymore because it's so dark. I mean, they're sitting
They
there
might be the
along with these
scariest
guys.
ones.
But you're not going to believe who the newest guy is.
Oh, we're not gonna
and
believe it?
It's really not going to even make sense to you. So,
So let me pause it here. So Mike and Jules spent probably a couple of days on the floor doing arts and crafts to create a crime board. Who kills Mike David? And you'll see the clipper down there in the bottom corner here. This is to represent me, I guess. And then you got Joey Diaz here. You got Sam Tripoli. You got Anthony Cumia for some reason. I don't know why, I guess. These are the people I guess he feared were going to kill him. And then the newest guy added to the crime board is you.
I'll show you this.
It's something unpredictable. And that's right.
They gonna find you, Nick.
We set you up, you stupid idiot.
This was all by design. I shouldn't even have to, like, I thought maybe that would be.
Okay, so here you are right here. Who kills Mike David? And here you are. This is Rich, who's on with us now.
Hello.
He is the guy who he thought he was going to get murdered by. Let me put this up here because I want to actually make this point. He said, that board is awesome and made great content. You're making fun of putting effort into content. No, actually the opposite. My point is, this whole thing led to Mike making good content. And he made all of this because of what happened. And if you're going to deny that, then you're just biased. He did all of this stuff. The beginning of season 20, a lot of it, the time capsules and all this shit was because he was like getting into the weeds with the people he was having conflicts with. And that's my critique of him, that he doesn't do that anymore. He tries to be more subversive with his responses to people. And I think he's just had enough of dealing with people to the point where now he has to allow like this gay British guy who's he has a new Clipper channel. It's called Redbar WRLD or something. And this guy has been clipping Redbar for like weeks or something and getting all these views off of his clips. And then suddenly in the midst of all these clips, he then goes live with a mask on his face. And it's this gay guy like, hi, everybody, it's Redbar WRLD. And it's really, really bad. The comments were all angry. And now Mike has to make this announcement. And kind of funny, he self-insults himself by saying, I'm worried because if people see all these Redbar clips and then this guy gets gone, they're going to think it's the new Redbar. And if I show you this guy later, it's kind of funny because he's a guy with a pink mask on his head. And then he's got sunglasses and he's like waving around this like little like light bar. And he's talking gay. I don't know how else to put it. he's a gay guy. So he's like, I don't want people to think this gay guy is me. So he's worried. And the problem is he doesn't want to start the conflict with the Clippers anymore because he knows it will result in all of this hassle. So now he has to just take it. He just has to allow this gay man to pretend he's Redbar and just deal with it. So yeah, it's kind of funny. And I'm not saying this is bad. I love this. The crime board is awesome. I love this whole thing. I wish he would do more stuff like this. My point being, I think this stuff is what made Redbar at his best, but I would imagine Jules probably came up with this. I have a feeling. Jules has more of a hand in a lot of this kind of stuff than you'd think, because this looks like her work. But here you go. You got Rich Fassett right here in the middle, and let's see what he ends up doing.
Clear by now.
There we go. Wait. Let me back that up a second.
I shouldn't even have to, like, I thought maybe that would be clear by now.
So there you go. There's the check that you would have got, Rich. The gigantic check for $300. He had to present it because now they spent the money on this big piece of cardboard and did all this work too. Look at all this work he's doing. Look at all this. Just because of this. And now it's ruined. So now he has to do this.
You got...
And now you'll see here, I said, I guarantee he would have pulled out a giant check for $300. I said this before. Guarantee he would have pulled out a giant check for $300 to clown you for asking about it. Now that we ruined his bit, I guarantee he's going to pull out a check and give it to Redband for editing you out and try to spin it as if that were always his intention. But he's so egotistical, he'll still slip up and call you a loser for asking for the $300, exposing himself, which is exactly what he did. He said, well, fuck you now. You suck, Rich Fassett, and I'm going to give it to Brian Redband.
And you did exactly what we said you were going to do.
So here we go. He crosses your name out and puts Brian Redband on there. Yeah. It's just kind of funny to me to watch. He's so angry because his bit was ruined. Now he has to sit there with this stupid giant check. Somehow make something out of it. And he did. Kudos to him. He did. He salvaged it. But I mean, I predicted it, Mike. You're predictable. You're predictable, Mike. I'm sorry. At least by me, I could predict your every move. I could predict you're probably not going to react to the last stream, but you will this one. Let's see.
Rich Fassett, what will he do?
What will you do for
dangerous? Does anybody know who Rich Fassett is? Does anybody remember that name?
Okay, so we gotta explain this part.
Oh, baby.
Yeah,
Flow state.
This part too, I want to explain.
Creativity.
So Mike did this whole rant at one point where he said that he goes into a flow state, and he described how he does his shows, and I just kind of chalked it up to him being on Adderall. That was my take here. That was the whole point of this. But here, so at the end of the video, we had this plan. Rich was recording a diss track against Mike and Tony, right? And we had it all done and we recorded it. And what ended up happening is on the next episode, Mike brought you up, right? And he started going like totally real life with it. He started contacting, I believe, one of your old neighbors or something, and he had reached out, or he claims they reached out to him saying, oh, I know this guy. He used to be my neighbor. They said that you trashed a garage or something. Would you like to clear your name on this whole thing?
Yeah, so that girl, she reached out to him. That girl is I'll put it this way. I don't know if she still currently does, but she used to sell farts online. So I kid you not. That's a true story. She used to sell farts online. She is a whore. She's just a trashy person in general. And the whole shed thing, so
it was a shed, not a garage.
It was what was it? It was a flower room of a funeral home parlor. it was yeah, it was weird, dude. Yeah, I was looking for a place to get high, and like I blacked out basically. Like I blacked out, and I had like no idea where I was for 2 hours. And basically, so all these tools were hanging up, like the shovels and these rakes and all this shit. And I tore down everything, dude. Like it was just all these tools in the giant flower room. It was just annihilated. And so I lost my phone in there, and I went back to go get my phone when I sobered up. But the owner of the funeral home told me that she handed it into the cops. She called the cops. And so in order to retrieve my phone, I basically had to turn myself in, which I did. Long story short, I made amends with her in September of last year. I got to talk to her for the first time, and we had a genuine conversation for like 15 minutes. It was pretty cool. But yeah, that girl who reached out to Redbar, bro, she is pure trash.
So she had a vendetta against you to reach out to him?
No,
why did you do that?
She's just a skank looking for attention, bro. That's all she is. She used to watch Redbar, and she got my friend into it years ago. And my friend told her that I was on Redbar, and so she jumped at the opportunity to gain some attention by trashing me, by saying that I trashed the shed or a garage, whatever. So yeah, she was looking for a little.
Wait. So you were like grabbing like shovels and shit off the wall and just start smashing stuff?
Your guess is as good as mine, bro.
So you don't even remember really what happened?
I was blacked out, dude.
So she kind of did you a favor by reminding you about it. But she was looking for attention, obviously. Just kidding. But so she goes on there, and then he also like starts digging into your criminal history and stuff, and they're posting like a mugshot of something. Like, I don't know if he did it on the show, but his Bring Back group was doing his Facebook group, his boomer Facebook. Who uses Facebook anymore? I mean, come on. But anyway, he posts someone posts the mugshot of you on there, and so at that point you're kind of feeling like, wow, I said something as a joke, and then he takes it super seriously, and then it goes to real life with it. And so you were kind of like, I don't know if I even want to keep pushing this, right?
Yeah, because it was new territory to me. Like I didn't know if I wanted my name being trashed like that. I'm kind of a quiet, reserved person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't care anymore. Like whatever. I own my shit. Like I don't have any shame or guilt. Like I know I'm not a criminal. I know I'm not a bad person. I just got caught up doing some stupid shit. That's all it was.
So what ended up happening is I made this this album art. We have the song recorded. Now it's up to you whether you want to play it or not.
Dude, right?
Yeah, because when I first heard it, I was like, I don't know. This is so crazy. And what's funny is when I posted this video and Mike went live after this video came out, I noticed Jules started playing, and they don't do this often, especially not these newer seasons, old songs of Mike rapping. I started noticing this. The whole next episode, she kept playing Mike rapping his old songs. He's had old, like Eminem style songs where he raps. And I think that was her way of showing her like, oh, well, Mike can do this too. So whatever you're going to do, he can do it back.
Oh, they did this after they saw the Clipper story?
So yeah, after this video came out, the next episode after this, she started playing really old clips of him rapping. Because he used to do like weird rap songs and weird parody songs, I guess, was one of them. I remember one of them was like, bury your boy or something. Bury your boy, bury your boy. And he would do like freestyle raps. So she started playing that to be like, well, don't mess with Mike because he's a rapper too. And it was kind of weird because it's like, clearly all of this is a joke. I kind of worry about it. Part of me loves it, but part of me is worried that people watched those videos that I made and actually thought that this was all serious. Like people were like, holy shit, this guy's going to go and kill Mike. You see me pick up a plastic bat in the video and you think I'm going with a plastic bat and just smack Mike in the head with a wiffle ball bat. Like it's very, very obvious it's all a joke and playing into it. So much so that they made a video that was a video I would have made. It was like they did the Stan song, and I think I have it somewhere, and I laughed at it because I thought it was funny. And at the end, they have me going, F you, dumb Jew, and they're like closing the laptop. What I'm saying, I laughed at it. But it's funny because that video is essentially an edit I would have made and probably would have posted on the channel. Like, that's a video that would have fit into what I was doing. The whole point of it was just to make ominous, silly videos. There was no honest, like, anger behind them. I predicted the whole thing that was happening because when I started the channel, I had posted a few Redbar clips and I had reached out to Mike because, like you, I didn't really know much about him. It was over the pandemic. I'm assuming a lot of people found out about him during that because everybody was stuck at home. And it was during that period when he started flooding all these clips onto YouTube. So everybody was getting recommended them. So that was like his big come up. And I had saw that, and on one of the episodes, he was complaining that nobody knew how to clip his show, and it always looked like shit. So I was like, hey, I'm enjoying the show. It seems pretty cool. I'll try and clip it. So I created this channel, and it's originally I had like a couple of Redbar clips on there, and I reached out to him. No one else does this because he said, oh, let me know. And I followed everything. I was like, I sent him an email and I said, hey, here's my channel. I made it. I made a couple of clips in like full quality. It looks great. Little did I know he kept pushing the boundaries of like, okay, this is great, but change this, change that, change this. He made this whole story up that I was writing him all these emails and wanting to be his best friend and that he wasn't responding, which is all a lie. I mean, I have the whole thing, the whole correspondence I can go through later. But we had a conversation back and forth, and he was being very nice at first. But it just became obvious that unless I was in his bring back group with my face and my name and like obsessed with the show, that I love everything about it, that he's not going to allow me to post clips. That's what became evident. And people are like, you're stupid. You should have known. Mike said no clips. And it's like, no, we were having conversations back and forth. And towards the end, it's funny because he says that he recently, you will never find this new thing I'm doing. You'll never find me in a comment section arguing with someone. And funny enough, he did exactly that in one of my videos. He was like, I think it was the Sam Tripoli one. And I said, hey, I asked him, it was the last thing I asked, hey, can I post this clip of you talking about Sam Tripoli? It'll cap off the whole thing that I was doing. And he's like, no more clips. No, you're acting like a spurg. Just sit and wait for me to respond. And he just got really like mean out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And I think most of these people who are fans of his probably would have saw that and would have been like, yes, Mike, I'm so sorry. And like cocked to him, but no, I'm not doing that. If a guy is disrespectful to you, I don't give a fuck who he is. I don't care who he is. I'm not going to just like switch up and be a bitch because Redbar told me to sit. He told me to sit and wait. And you're a spurg and all this shit. And he conveniently left that email out because he said, oh, I shared all the emails in the bring back group. We're all making fun of you wanting to be my best friend. If you actually go read those emails, there's no indication of that. I said, I appreciate your show. I think the show's pretty funny. Obviously, he's got a lot of money invested into the studio. I said the studio is very cool. But yeah, there's no point like, hey, man, want to hang out and be friends? None of that. I never asked for money. I never asked for anything in return. I was doing it just to help out. It was like, because this was a show that I was enjoying during the pandemic, and that was my way of trying to help out. And yeah, he just fucking snapped. And it turns out this is not a new behavior. This is something he's done his whole career. He's been doing this for 20 years. His own best friend, Sven Stoffels, his own best friend, did a whole hour-long phone call saying all of the shit that I was thinking about him at the time. I was like, wow, this guy seems like he just snapped. And he did it to his own best friend, so I guess I'm not special in any way. He's done it to everybody. But yeah, you can catch him in the comment section. It was not good because all of his fans were even like, this is embarrassing, Mike. This is really bad. I think it's this one. Maybe remove the strike. Yeah. I think it's this one. Let me see. Yeah, see, so I write, Mike, permission to clip the Sam Tripoli segment from tonight. Update.
I thought I was gonna be in jail. Right now, I'm living a life of fucking Riley. You know, I don't want to blow that for anybody, but for you, I would run you over with the car. Because dead men don't tell tales. You know, unless you send them, and when they come back, you shoot them both.
I'm telling you, dude, you went too far.
So this whole thing is all set up. The previous video in there, I hint at Mike. I said, because I find out that Sam Tripoli knows where he lives and stuff and where his studio is. And I write at the end, remember that when you go to copy strike me. And then he does exactly like I predicted the whole fucking thing the entire time, and he doesn't realize it, or maybe the fans don't realize it. I don't know, but so he ends up doing exactly that. He copy strikes the videos, and I said, you know what? That's the only power that you have, is to copy strike them, and I'll just delete all the clips. I don't care. And I think when I deleted them all, that's when he got mad, because he thought he was going to continue to have this power over me and start controlling me. I said, no, fuck it. I'll just delete them all. I said, update, Mike is angry now, no clip. And then here he goes. He's in the comment section. We don't know you. We don't work with you. Involving yourself in another man's business like this is weird. Find another show to do clips for. Thanks. And I said, aren't you busy, Mike? Because that was his whole excuse in the email exchanges, that he was busy and couldn't get it. But he wasn't busy. He wasn't busy to copy strike every video and write all these comments in here. And it's funny, he says involving yourself in another man's business, but that's what he does for a living. That's the whole show. That's the whole show, is getting involved in other people's business. And then you see people here, yikes, dude. Nothing yikes about any of this shit. Give it a rest. Plus, you shouldn't be outside of your Discord like this. It's not safe. Gotta start invoicing you for my time. He keeps going. I said, the fact you took this video seriously makes me happy and disturbed. You know, and then he keeps going, He wrote in one of my other videos too, and he was writing in some of the videos where that are now gone, that are deleted. So it's just funny to me to see that he took it so fucking seriously, man. It's weird. But you dodged the bullet, for real.
Yeah, I don't understand. I'm trying to help him out too. It's weird.
Okay, let me see. I have your song here now. I'm gonna play it for the people. Let me add it in here. So this is the unreleased Rich Fassett Without Me diss track. And we're gonna listen to it.
This beat is so hard to rap to.
Yeah, hold on. Let me put up something for this. Yeah, I even named it the Malanucci Brothers. Like, could it be more fucking obvious? Come on, guys. Oh, boy. Okay, so here we go. This is Without Mike diss track. Did you hear that? He's rich in every facet of his life. Did you guys hear that, or did that go over your head? That was bars. That was bars, man.
Appreciate
God
it.
damn.
Yeah.
Okay, by the way, so I see people here. They're very upset. The Redbar fans are very, very upset. They're like, this is a Clipper channel who is angry, and these. Okay, so Mike, this is what you get now that I'm no longer clipping your show, and I'm a disgruntled Clipper, which it's been over a year since I've ever shared anything Redbar. But let's look at who is clipping Mike Redbar now. This is what you have now.
Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in and helping me with my test. If anything goes wrong, just let me know.
This is what you guys want. Enjoy.
My shmee.
What the hell?
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's
Please
frozen.
first let me know if, I know my video is fucking up, but I know it'll come back here and there. Let me know if you can hear my soundboard.
Oh my god! Jew.
Hopefully you heard that. It said, oh my god, Jew. So, if you heard it, let me know in the chat. Anyway, my burger test is what we're going to do today. I got a burger from a local place in Chicago called Small Cheval. And the reason I'm doing this test, I have a bunch of exciting interviews lined up with comedians, YouTubers, and more.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So this freak here reached out to Mark, by the way. That ain't happening. So yeah, this is what you get now. This is your Redbar clipper, apparently. So enjoy that, guys. I don't know what else to say about that, but let's take that down. Like, look at this. What is going on? What is this guy doing? By the way, if you called weed shmee, I would have never smoked weed in my life. If you call weed shmee, if you told me that people called it that, I would have never smoked weed ever in my life. I can't take it. I can't take it, man.
Who says that? This guy or Redbar?
That's a it's a Redbar lingo, and then these people like start saying the word. Don't start saying the words that the host says. Don't do it. It's cringy, guys. Like shmee. Ugh, fuck shmee.
In my life, and I
me neither. Yeah, they'll go in like the BBG, and they have like all the, they call it the Shah instead of show. There's a Shah. So they have all this lingo, and then they start talking. That's my issue. My issue is more with the fans of the show than with Mike, actually. When I really think about it, I don't like when I see people like adopt the personality of the person they're watching. Like they don't have their own personality, and then they all get into a group and they all say the same thing. They all act the same way, and they all have the same thoughts. And one of the issues is if you ever try to share some sort of criticism, you get alienated immediately. Like you're not allowed to criticize this guy because he's perfect, I guess, and everything he does is great. So if you do that, what ends up happening is they'll start pushing you out. They'll start making you feel uncomfortable. Like the guys in this chat here. What did I even say that was so awful? And look at them here. They're so upset. Look how upset they are. You're deranged. You're deranged. You're obsessed with Mike. That's all they can say because that's the perception that he put out there for them to feed into because they can't come up with a thought. So they all repeat the same thing. It's like watching a bunch of the same people. They're all the same person.
Yeah.
Like here.
Yeah, it's called.
You need to smoke some schmeed right now. Like stop calling it schmee. You know what? Like just because you did that, shmee, get out of here. No more shmee for you. Yeah. So here, look at Jorge. You are a representation of what you were talking about. How is that? Who am I imitating? I'm not imitating anybody. I don't use any lingo that host does. Yeah. Anyone saying shmee, you don't belong here. You don't belong here, man. My issue is that people like the show. No, that's not my issue. It's just the way. I think this is the problem. When you like a show, and this is how I've always operated, I always keep like a level of distance between me and the show, and I watch from a distance. Like I enjoyed Redbar from a distance. Once you get into the community of it, and then the fan base that's like very close to him, then it gets weird because now you're in this kind of echo chamber where you have to agree. And look, you guys are in my chat room. What are you doing? You got half of you in here. Well, not half, a couple of you in here talking shit, and I'm letting you say it, and I'm putting it up on the fucking screen. He would never do that. He would never even let anyone call into his show, by the way. He would never confront anybody. It's always like pointing at someone on the screen and saying it. But like if Mike said, hey, come call into my show and I'll talk to you directly, I would do it. Anyone who's ever said that, I've done it. I paneled up on their show on camera, on mic. I'll do it. I don't give a shit. But he doesn't do that. The only people who were guests were Sven and then Mark Harley. And what's funny is Mark should hopefully be joining here at the last half of this. He was the only other guest that was on the show, right? And I had Mark on in the last episode. The entire time, he did an impression of Redbar. It was like lighthearted and funny. And he never reacted to it. Simply, I guess, because I'm involved in it. I don't know. Maybe now he will. I had people telling me, "Oh, he's gonna play it," but from what I heard, he didn't. And now they're like, "Oh no, it's gonna be the next one." So it's just kind of strange. Like, why not confront people who can actually? So another guy is this guy Pod Awful. He does a show, and Pod Awful calls out Redbar all the time. He's got like probably 2 episodes in the recent past where he's called him out and actually confronted him or critiqued him in some way or made fun of him, goofed on him. No response. His response is always like these weird subversive responses where he doesn't actually say the person's name. He just does things throughout the show to let you know he saw it and he's reacting to it, but he just doesn't confront the person. It's like, wasn't that what it was? Because that was my introduction to it, was that he was fighting with Joey Diaz and Sam Tripoli, and he was getting these comedians to react out of character. Like Nick DiPaolo was another one. He like played a whole prank on him where he had everyone in his chat just start spamming 444, and then Nick started creating this whole conspiracy in his head of what it meant, and he didn't know. And there was like a payoff to that because it was funny. He was reacting to something that Redbar was doing. That's what I liked, and that's what I thought the show was. And to me, Mike came across as like the supervillain of the internet that was making fun of comedians and actually getting comedians to react to him. That was what I thought the concept was. And I think maybe I could understand he crossed the line with Sam Tripoli, and his point was, hey, freedom of speech, you're all about freedom of speech, Sam. Well, I'm going to sing a song about, doing things to your children. And the guy shows up to his door. And I think now it's at that point where he's like, I just want to have fun. And I'm afraid to actually have this happen again. So I think that's the point of it. But it's like, Sam Tripoli's fucking nuts. Like, the guy actually went to your door and buzzed it. Come down, Mike. I'm going to sing that song to my face. Of course, the guy's unhinged. But like 99% of the people who are saying stuff about you on the internet aren't. They're not going to show up to your fucking house. No one cares. Like, that's what I don't get. Why not react to like a Pod Awful episode? Like, why? Why aren't you reacting to it? What is the reason you don't want to give them the attention? Why? That was what was great about the show. You would react to people who were either on an equal level or above, or you would react to people who were people nobody knew about. Like, he would find people no one knew about, and that was the start of it. Like this guy, Melton, which I don't know a lot about Patrick Melton, but I saw he was like one of the first guys that Mike made fun of. And now that guy does a show, and I think he has more viewers, at least live viewers, which is kind of crazy that he's able to come out from under that. So yeah, it's just weird to me that he used to do that. He would go back and forth with people. That's what I miss. And that is my critique. And if that's this awful thing where like the Redbar fans get so upset and butthurt about it, then that's fine. But a lot of people feel that way. It's not just me. And now there's like this conspiracy that anybody who says anything remotely like that is me on the internet. I'm like 7 different people apparently on the internet. They've said that I'm in all these different communities talking about Redbar. It's just very odd to me. Yeah, so what, Rich, after that whole thing, what ended up happening? Did you continue watching the show after that, or you just like moved on?
Well, Kill Tony?
No, Redbar. Did you like watch it after he covered you and like put up your criminal history and all that crazy shit?
Oh, no. I mean, I unsubscribed immediately. I will watch clips every now and then. that come across my feed. Especially when he bashes Tony Hinchcliffe. That's a personal favorite. But other than that, no, I really don't pay attention to him like that. But he's an intriguing guy, right? He'll poke fun. He'll bring a whole different perspective to, you know, these huge celebrity comedians and stuff like that. So it's interesting and it's engaging. It's funny. Like some of the stuff that he pumps out is pretty funny. But yeah, I don't watch him like religiously or anything like that. No.
Yeah, you got people here. It says Rich secretly loves Redbar.
That might be true. I don't know. No.
Yeah, it's very weird. Why didn't he just say it openly? How's it secretly? That he had. That's the thing I've said. I said there is positive things about it. You can't just say something is perfect and just continuously give it praise. Like if you find things to criticize, that's totally valid. If you do that, what ends up happening is then the guy goes unchallenged and then he thinks he has to do nothing for you. You should be pushing Mike. You should be pushing him to do stuff. That was my whole point of that. It's like showing you guys like, hey, look, he actually did all of this content because of this confrontation he had with me, and it was funny. So we got Mark here, by the way. Mark is just coming off. Let me add him into the call here. Mark, what's up?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
Good. Good to see you, Mark. I thought we lost you.
Too. Thank you for being patient with me.
No worries. Are you just heading back now from
Yeah, we did a little content where me and Isaiah are doing like a show, you know, an eating show. I guess that's a popular genre on YouTube. So we just had a little dinner at a Brazilian steakhouse.
So let me just introduce you to Rich really quick before I let you go, Rich. This is Mark.
Hey,
do you know Mark, Rich?
Mark. I do not.
So Mark was a guy, he was a part of the Fighter and the Kid podcast at one point with Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen. Those two comedians, and he is no longer a part of it.
Had a bit of a falling out with Brendan Schaub.
Yeah, a bit of a falling out. And you guys kind of share a similar experience. You both were covered on Redbar.
Yeah.
You not in such a great way, Rich. But I think you came out on top. You got the diss track out there. Hey, and all he did was basically say, well, actually now going back, would you have rathered the $300?
No, I love Redbar for covering my story. Like I said, he covered depth, and he basically confirmed what I was saying. He went into detail for 45 minutes. So, obviously he's like a douchebag for thinking that sending money and revoking it is funny. And the whole thing with Sam Tripoli going after his kids is just not cool. It's just not funny at all. So, but yeah, fuck that guy.
Do you mind if I ask, because I've heard a little bit about the lore of how you were edited out of Kill Tony, but I didn't know what the specific joke was. And this is obviously like insane to me because, Tony Hinchcliffe as like somebody who, people attempted to cancel. It's seemingly so sacrilege to be editing somebody out for saying something critical of him or getting one off on him. What was it that you said that got cut out?
It was just an impersonation of how he talks. It's just doing one of his catchphrases.
Yeah.
It's funny because Mark did an impression of Redbar. We're waiting for you to react to that, Mike, by the way. You don't have to, but you should.
Honestly, I don't think you would, because I'm like, it was just, not that I'm like an amazing impressionist, but I know I nailed something with it where I'm like, what's he going to respond to? Being like, that's a good impression of me being a fucking, Queenie weirdo. I don't know.
Mark, here is him reenacting. I know it's very hard to reenact a joke that you told, but he had to do this basically because he doesn't have the actual original video. So I can just play this for you. Because some people joining here, this is with a live stream. It's kind of hard because people join in at the end and then they don't know what's going on. So this is what happened reenacted.
And Tony was so tight. He was.
Right. Let me go back.
This is my impersonation of every Kill Tony episode. Everybody give it up for the great Hans Kim, everybody. Hans Kim. Hans, how's it going?
It's going good. You know, I just banged some homeless lady like 2 hours ago.
Hell yeah. And that was it. That was it. I was going to do impersonation of all the regulars. LSH, David Lucas, William Montgomery. I couldn't even get that far because the crowd erupted. Absolutely fucking erupted. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't expecting that. I only got 20 seconds through my set. And then that happened. And Tony was so tight. He was so fucking tight. He was giving me a lot of shit during the interview.
And he does, I believe it, because he has done that multiple times where someone gets one over him. So it's basically don't kill Tony. He doesn't want you to kill him.
I wasn't aware of that pattern, but I must say your impression was accurate. And that's why I fucking burst out into laughter. It's not a stretch at all to imagine that people were freaking the fuck out because, like, you nailed it.
I appreciate that, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, It's amazing because if you're an established comedian and people know your name, you have some notoriety, it's cool. Like he'll go back and forth with you. You know, like David Lucas always exchanges jokes with him.
Right. And I'm friends with David Lucas. And what's funny about David is like he's given me something. Like he told me the first time I met him, he was like, you look like a muscular bobcat. And I was like, that's hilarious and original, you know. And he also, but like if you roast him back, he'll laugh at it if it's good. You know what I mean? And so I always give him credit for that because I love him in David's exchanges, but it's like, why is that featured, but not a guy like you doing it? And I always feel like comedians, especially, and I've heard this before about Tony, somebody was like, he walks around the Comedy Store like he's the fucking king of the whole place. And it's like, hey bro, like, you know, you're not as huge as you think you are. You're not as powerful or as good as you think you are. Not that he's not good at comedy, but like, his arrogance, I've heard from some people, you know, outpaces like what he's done as far as comedy. And I do think that tends to create these dynamics where it's like, it's cool if someone as famous as me is making fun of me, but if it's a nobody, then it's not cool, you know?
Yeah.
So people, your auto part says Lossless sounds just like Tony. Do I sound like Tony?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Oh, damn. I thought I could sound like him. It's more like kind of nasally and high pitched, right? It's like, hey guys, yeah.
Your hell yeah, the hell yeah was what
hell yeah. You think you're funny, Rich? Yeah, you think you're funny? Wow, good joke. You make fun of me.
He was so pissed. Like after I revealed
basically
that,
a gay guy.
After I revealed that I was on stage for about a dozen times. This is what he said to me. He's like, because he found out that I was from New Jersey. He's like, you know, I've accomplished more in one weekend in New Jersey than you have in your entire life. He said that to an open micer who's been on stage.
That was the comeback was to just flex on you, not to actually tell a joke back.
Exactly.
It's very Brendan Schaub-ish, actually. Because it's like,
yeah.
I drive a Ferrari, therefore you're a loser. It's like, okay, bro.
Yeah, good job, open micer. I'm rich and you're poor, but your name is Rich. Ha ha ha.
Have you considered being funny? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
He's rich in every facet of his life.
In every
bars. Hell yeah. Yeah. But Rich, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I don't want to take any more of your time. That was cool of you to come on and tell your story and get to show people the behind the scenes of what actually happened with that whole Redbar thing, which is funny too. And Redbar's watching apparently, so maybe he'll react to this. I don't know. We'll see.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Mark,
no worries.
All right.
Keep it up, Rich.
Take care, guys.
Bye. Thank you. So hey, Mark. So Mark is coming back from filming something, correct?
Yes. Brazilian steakhouse. All you can eat. Shit's amazing. M Grill. Me and Isaiah are doing a new show. He had me at free food, you know? He's like, hey, we're going to free food. And we're going to, yes, I'll do it. So
what is this? The concept of the show is just to eat the food? Like, what is the concept of it?
Yeah, it's like film ourselves eating and reacting to it. Like, I know it sounds super simplistic, but
I love food.
Like, it's based on a few other channels. Like, I guess watching people eat on YouTube is a thing. So Like, you know, if he coordinates the dinners and I get to eat for free, I'm like, yeah, fucking film me stuffing my face. I don't give a shit. But you know, we have a 3 million subscriber YouTube channel. I guess you can get away with that. You know.
Oh, so that's cool. He's got 3 million subscribers.
Yeah. Big, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I know guys like Brendan will be like, or people will try to take credit for things, but I'm like, literally being in Isaiah's skits has gotten me recognized more than anything I've ever done in my entire life. So, you know, like.
Yeah, I heard people kind of talking shit about that. They're like, your skits with that. I never actually. I have to watch some of them. How did you meet this guy, Isaiah? Like, what is the connection there?
We met at Zoo Culture in like 2021 because that was the only gym open in Los Angeles during the pandemic, and like.
Is that Bradley Martin's thing, or am I mistaken?
Exactly. So he had to like fight the city to keep it open. They shut down like the electricity and shit, and he like, you know, was running the place on generators for a while. So, you know, props to him for keeping it open. But me, and
I do remember that he was catching a lot of shit, and he refused to close it. And they were trying to find him. It came to the point where they had to pull the electricity out, and he was running it off generators. Is that place franchised, or is there just one?
So there's an original one, and they just opened a new one close by that's a lot nicer. Because the old one is a little bit like, you know, it's like a barbell gym. Like if you're a hardcore lifter, you might go there, but it's not like, you know.
Yeah, I go there all the time.
The newest best shit, but like technically there's 2 of them, but I think in order to go to the old one, you have to have like been a member, so it's more like a private gym now. But there's only 2. And it's like Bradley Martin's brand, you know, Zoo Culture, Raw Gear, his fitness empire.
So okay, so you met him at the gym, and then he was like, let's just make content.
Well, so yes, I'd met him there when I was living with Brendan Schaub, and he was transitioning from going, he was making, look, the life of a fitness influencer, I think people don't realize, because Isaiah also caught a lot of controversy he was accused of being a fake natty because he had like really low test levels. But like, I was with him when he was doing he'd shoot like 3 different workouts in a day. He'd like work out with this person and then work out with another person, and like wasn't sleeping and was like starving himself to like look shredded for Instagram pics. I'm like, he was fucking his own body up. You know what I mean? So I just say that to set up the fact that he came to me and he knew that I had like done sketch comedy before, and he wanted to get into doing skits, and I was like, oh, here's an idea, and he really liked it, and that was the first one we did. Where it's like, you know how guys are like, they see each other at the gym, like, yo man, I'm trying to get like you. No, I'm trying to get like you, and then we have this like, you know, like competition between like whose life is worse. So like, you try to get like me, like you want to be 260 pounds and breathe heavy every time you take a step, and you know, and we're going back and forth like that. So that was like our first skit in 2021. So we've probably done hundreds together now. But
I see one here. It's just 4 hours ago. Caught by mommy. And the thumbnail.
That's one that I wrote, because now we're getting into longer form content ones. Because like, so anytime somebody's talking shit about like the 60-second skits that we do, it's like, you realize like we'll get together and have like loose premises and shoot like 3 of them in a couple hours. You know what I mean? So they're like mostly improvised, except for the long ones that we're going to start putting out on YouTube are like, I sit down and actually type them out in Final Draft. You know what I mean? But otherwise, we're just like, here's the premise, here's an idea. Let's like as quickly as we can, like come up with the jokes and the beats. So like, I just consider like hitting singles. It's like, I'm just trying to get on base. We're just trying to make some shit every day. And like every once in a while we'll make a good one, but it's like, you know, anybody talking shit, I'm like, yeah, you realize I've done like 500 skits, you know, like.
Yeah, and they're getting good views. Most of it is on TikTok, I'm assuming, right?
Well, actually, so if you look on his page on YouTube Shorts,
I do see that 3.14 million subscribers he's got.
And like the most, let's say he has like,
oh wow,
you know, maybe one of his had like
109 million views.
Yeah, so like, I'm not saying everyone does amazing, but like if one of them gets 100,000 views, it's like, oh, that one tanked, you know. So like, we'll try to hit like 1 million views for good ones. Some of them get like a few million or 10 or 20 million, you know.
That's like Mr. Beast numbers. What the fuck? What is this? Let's see. Every Guy's Dream, 109 million views.
Oh! Take a picture. It'll last longer.
My bad. I was looking at you. I was looking at the wall.
No, you can look at me.
Wait, what?
You think I come to the gym and look this cute for you not to stare at me?
I can take a picture?
I mean, yeah, as long as it's a good angle.
Okay.
How's this?
Oh my god, you look great.
Okay, but take one more. You're gonna love this one.
This sounds even better.
I hate when girls say they don't want guys staring at them in the gym. That's the whole reason I come here.
I'm glad you said that. I only come to the gym to look at girls.
You think I didn't spend all morning getting ready?
Yes.
We could go back to my place and do some cardio, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So this is making fun of the whole concept of these women who purposefully set up a camera waiting for a guy to oogle at them and then get upset. And then they'll get mad at guys who are not even looking at them at all. And just to create the viral moment of it.
Exactly. And so like, again, what you're watching is like, he shows up, like I was in there for that one, but it's like, that was like conceptualized and shot within an hour. You know what I mean? So like, you scroll through his whole thing, like some of these take off. There's one that I have that was like, I think it's like 27 million that I thought was funny. But anyway, like, cause I'm in,
yeah, that's the weird thing about YouTube. So here's the thing, like, it's like if you want to be a creator who does anything sort of out of the ordinary, they just like, they're not going to pay you for it. But like, you have to do a specific type of content, and then it becomes this battle between, do I say everything I'm thinking and I want to say, or do I make content that's specifically going to go viral? Because you can tell this is the type of stuff that's going to go viral. This is something that anybody can consume, and this gets the most views, and YouTube pushes this stuff the most, where this is the type of stuff that you're going to see when you first sign up to YouTube for like the first time. They're going to recommend this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is like kids come up to me because it's like, we still like, I'd want to do dirtier shit or make more sexual innuendo or say cock and fuck and whatever, but it's like, you can't do that because then like you can't recommend it to kids, or you know, it'll get you banned off TikTok and shit like that. So I'm aware of exactly what kind of content I'm making. It's just like, but this has given me more notoriety than almost anything else I've done, you know.
That's the double. It's like the double-edged sword of it.
Yeah, but
I feel like we need a push. I don't know. I think maybe it's a political thing. Maybe it's the political climate or whatever. A push where advertisers actually say, because I would argue the majority of people don't want kid-friendly content unless it's for kids. They don't want all of YouTube to be this like milquetoast vanilla content.
Yeah.
So if everybody thinks that way, why don't the advertisers think that way too and say, hey, let's start throwing ad money into people who do adult shows to where that can be pushed the same way? Like, why are we stuck in this cycle of like having to do this type of viral content that's like anybody can watch?
Yeah, and I agree. It's the
It doesn't
same
have to be Pepsi.
Like 4-quadrant movies, you know, where it's like the reason Pixar movies do so well, or these like superhero movies, it's like because they're designed to be for young people and old people and men and women. But what that does is water it down. And again, like this is, you know, we've kind of made our own niche of like gym comedy, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's a lot of people doing gym skits, and a lot of like people are like, I watch them like, oh, like, you know, you can tell me my shit's cringy, but like I've seen some real fucking cringy shit where you're like, at least we're coming up with original ideas. What you'll see a lot on gym comedy is like people copy the exact same fucking idea beat for beat, where it's like, this has already been done 20 times. Like I saw the exact same video that you're passing off as a comedy skit, like, and you're doing it beat for beat, word for word, and like posting it to your own social media without crediting the original creator. It's bizarre.
How much money would you don't have to say, but would you think that he makes from content creation?
I honestly don't know, but like he makes a living off of it. You know what I mean? It's like
visually, could you tell like that? Is he very wealthy from it, or is it just like a humble living? Like even ballpark?
He's not a big spender, but like he drives like $150,000 car. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, so yeah.
So he like, I know he makes a good living off YouTube. He has a lot of brand deals because, like, for example, he'll do like an ad for like protein chips or something like that, and it'll do like 1 million views on YouTube, and it's like that shit's worth a few $1,000 to a brand. You know what I mean? It's like, so you can, like, I know some of his deals he's gotten from like clothing, or like, you know, he'll get a clothing deal and make like 10K a month, you know, just from the fucking clothing deal, let alone views or whatever. So I know he's doing well for himself. His girl Noelle is also crushing it with like OnlyFans and shit like that. So it's like, you know, it's like good for you guys, man. You found, but like also I say it works his ass off.
OnlyFans, yeah, that's where the money. That's where the money is. OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're a hot chick, like that's why people like begrudge this OnlyFans shit. I'm like, yeah, as if you
Or a hot
like
dude.
A 23-year-old, and you're like, you can either work a normal ass job or like do a photo shoot a week and, you know, make $1 million a year. Like, what the fuck are you choosing? Like, I don't even think she does nudity and still rakes in money, you know? So, like, more power to you, as far as I'm concerned.
It's kind of creepy now because now I see there's like young influencers. There's this guy, I forget what his name is. I always forget his name. He's this influencer kid that goes around with a bodyguard and then purposefully starts confrontations with people and gets, so the bodyguard will like punch them in the face.
Yes, fuck that kid.
What's his name?
It's gonna eat me up. I fucking forget it. Because I saw like Fusi like slapped him.
Yeah, Fousey Tube. And then he had another thing where he got beat up because he was like he's walking on like a beach pathway and his security guard's wearing a shirt that has like curse words on it. And then he says frig or something, and a guy overhears it and thinks he said the fuck or something. But then he goes, "Hey, watch what you're saying around my kid." And he said, "I said frig." And he goes, "Well, watch your mouth, and your security, this guy's shirt is disgusting." And then out of nowhere, this big fat guy who wasn't even a part of it just walks up and then puts the kid in a headlock. And then the security guard has to get involved, and he throws like both of them onto the ground. And it's so weird to me. And then I learned about this guy. He is like an OnlyFans manager. So he's getting like girls that are literally like just turning 18 that live in this mansion with him. And then he's their manager.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's
what
another
kids are
weird
doing.
hustle where it's like just based on, because it's like you're not a manager, you're just a guy who like with clout. So like, you know, and again, that's what like Bradley Martin was doing.
Jack
with,
Doherty. That's his
Jack
name.
Doherty. Yes.
Yes.
That he seems like just, I mean, but like I also give kids credit where it's like, yeah, if I was a 23-year-old like douchebag millionaire who made millions off of like being a douchebag, you know, you don't know anything else. So like, he's annoying as fuck, but it's like he's a product of this environment where you can like be mega successful off of doing that. So can we really blame him? I don't know, but he seems like a complete douchebag.
And it's so stupid. You can't even play, like, if I play a video of his, then it just like they demonetize you on YouTube. That's how sensitive they are now. Like, this video is his bodyguard. This guy here, he just blasts him in the face and he just falls to the ground.
And I remember that video because it was like so egregious. You're like, the guy wasn't
New York Post.
touching him or anywhere near him. He just like stuck his hand, and the guy like cocks back, and that dude's got to be like 6'6", like 280 minimum. You know what I mean? Like it's this giant fucking human just cold cocking a guy for no fucking reason to pose no physical threat whatsoever. It makes him look like a fucking huge douchebag.
Did you ever see that clip of there's another guy who's like a prankster who he goes up to people and just starts saying things that make no sense. I guess maybe it's some sort of inside joke. And he's in a mall and he goes up to this guy who's doing like a DoorDash or something, I guess. And he's in the middle of like picking up an order. And this guy goes to prank him. And then the DoorDash driver pulls out a gun and just shoots him in the middle of the mall.
Yeah, take it off. Like
I wish I could show it.
I used to do, when I was on 50 Central, I used to do pranks, and I fucking hated them because I was like, I'm cool with skits, but like pranks, you're involving people who didn't sign up to be a part of this. You know what I mean? So I just feel like there's a lot of ethical lines that get crossed. Like, wasn't there, you know, I think on like earlier YouTube, people would like go into the hood and like call black dudes the N-word. Like,
yeah.
Actually,
FuziTube was he was one of the OGs of like the prankster YouTube era, and he he admitted 90% of his pranks were fake, but there was people.
Because it's hard to
Most of
get
it was
real
fake.
reactions out of people. Like having tried to do real pranks for TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like, anytime I had to do a prank, I was like, oh fuck, like, because we're gonna be out there for like 8 fucking hours, like approaching strangers. Like one of the skits was like me like freestyle dissing people that I'd sit next to. It was so, I'm like, this is just like, I don't really like content that's like just shitting on strangers. You know what I mean? But like, so it's a weird thing if you're like, if that's your whole living is like just shitting on strangers, like for like clicks. It's like, I don't know. I think there's something.
That's the world that we're heading to, though. Like that's what's becoming what people want. Like I don't know. I hate saying it though, because then I feel like I'm getting old. Because I remember, you know, when I was younger, a lot of the rebellious content was people doing fucked up shit. I mean, think of like, but even then, like I think of like Jackass or something. That's kind of a prank, but always the joke was on them.
You're correct. And they were like, they would prank each other, but it's in like,
right.
It's in a system where you've accepted the fact that we're all making a living off of doing this. So it's like you've entered an arena. I don't like doing it to people who like haven't entered the arena willingly. You know what I mean?
This other guy is Gideon. Gideon was another guy, and he's like constantly just going into people who are working like minimum wage jobs. I'll go into like a Walmart and he's just like disrupting the whole place. And for the viewer, it's entertaining, but then you got to be like, oh man, those people that are just like trying to do their job. If that was you in that position, and then some YouTuber comes in and he's just being a dick and he's making money off of your misery while you're working your 9 to 5. That guy like went born again Christian or something. He like deleted his whole prank channel and now he is like a preacher or something. It's so bizarre, man.
Well, good, because I mean, I think people should reconsider shit like that. Like if that's their whole.
But this guy got shot, and then after he still didn't care. He continued making videos. This is the dude. This is the dude that shot him.
No, I remember seeing this, and I remember being like, "Good," because he's fucking with strangers in public. You know what I mean? It's like you have to expect, as a guy, I know not to fuck with people in public, like because as a man, you just know that like disrupting other men in public, especially when they're trying to do their job, can end up violent very quickly, you know. And
no charges either, too. That's a cool place to live, where you can just shoot a YouTube prankster point blank, and then you
but I guess
you come out the next day.
Is like the other guy started it. The other guy initiated some sort of physical altercation with him. You know what I mean? Where like it's like if
he
you're
didn't
not
he didn't actually touch him though. That's what it's kind of weird, because he didn't actually physically touch him. Let me see if I can play this.
Charges include aggravated malicious wounding.
Shooting closing down a mall in Virginia after a YouTuber allegedly tried pranking a man for a video, but then he was shot in response. That suspect now in custody.
This is 21-year-old Tanner Cook.
Do you know this guy?
A budding comedian who posts videos regularly to his channel Classified Goons.
Classified Goons. Everybody's got it.
Welcome back to another video.
He's known for ruffling feathers.
Hey, get the hell out of here.
Sometimes to the point security or police are called. But his latest stunt was met with gunfire. When a shopper Cook was trying to prank got offended and shot him, according to Cook's family.
Went through his stomach and into his liver, and they took his gallbladder.
The Loudoun County Sheriff's Department
He lost
arresting
his
the shooter,
gallbladder
identified
over
as
this.
Alan Coley. Charges.
Then there was a video with him and his mother leaving the court after this, and then they're like, he's like, yeah, my son's a prankster, you know, he's a little bastard. But she was like taking it all like lightheartedly, and I'm like, what? Your son just got shot for doing a YouTube prank, and you're not concerned? Like you're never doing YouTube again? She was like, he'll be back, and he's gonna make more videos, and he's even like doing goofy faces behind her during the newscast. I'm like, wow, yeah, it's a new world. Like, hey, it's kind of cool though. I like the idea that you might do a YouTube prank, you might get shot point blank with a 9mm.
Right. It adds some drama, some stakes to the situation. That
every YouTuber should be shot, I think.
At least once, yeah. It's like a hazing ritual. Like every cop wants to get tased, you know, before they use a taser.
I wanted to ask you, so I know you had said to me something like, because last time Mark was on, I know a little bit of the TFATK stuff, and I remember like the whole thing with the Reddit and him thinking that Bobby Lee was behind it because they went through some 300 pages of paperwork, and then
with the fake hackers,
fake hackers, and the FBI is looking into it because there's kid abuse or something, all this weird stuff. And then I remember Bobby going on the H3 podcast. And then somehow in the end, and this is going to kind of connect to something else. In the end, Bobby ends up getting divorced and Brendan stays with his wife. And then it got me thinking, I was like, I know like it came out that he was talking to these women and stuff. And then I started thinking about the women in their lives of these people, these powerful people, if you want to call Brendan that. And I started to think about Crystalia. And I'm just confused how a guy who is publicly accused of, I believe, one was a minor, and then like a bunch of other allegations came out. And then his wife stays with him. He comes back and he's still creating content as if nothing happened. He used his child for a little bit as like a sympathy play to get people back into him. But now he's just back fully like as if nothing happened. And allegations are still coming out. And yet he just exists. And the woman in his life, his wife, doesn't care. Like what do you think is going on there? Like, is there some arrangement? What is happening?
Well, I think there's a couple of different situations that you're referring to, like with Joanna and Brendan. It's like, well, like, she just like, imagine her working an actual job. Like that's never gonna happen, right? I think when you have kids and when you have a certain lifestyle that you're accustomed to, like, you're going to be able to excuse a lot. And I also do think in Chris's example that he has been like, once everything came out, he was extremely
Mark is transitioning
rehab
into a new Wi-Fi area.
Oh shit.
You cut out for a bit there.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, this is weird. So I didn't even know this. I guess he changed his YouTube account name. Now it's called Supergood. Supergood Studios. This is the home of Congratulations with Crystalia. I guess this was an excuse to change to the name. Lifeline with Matt D'Elia and Crystalia and more. Is Matt? Who's Matt? Is that his brother or something?
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I was gonna say, he's still. This is his views on it. It's kind of the same as the fighter and the kid. They both kind of fell off, but he's still doing the show, and people are watching it, and nobody says anything.
Also, and he sells a lot more tickets than Brendan too. And I was explaining this to Isaiah tonight. I'm like, in today's day and age, it's almost impossible to cancel somebody if you have your own thing going. So if you can sell tickets, which like say whatever you want about Crystalia, but like I saw him perform his hour live that he just put out as a special. I was like, he demolished the fucking place. You know what I mean? So I'm like, people watch him and he has this following of people who like his comedy and they're very committed. And he, like, as a performer, he fucking brings it. You know what I mean? So like, if you can put asses in seats, like, how are you ever going to be canceled? You know what I mean? Like unless like the venues ban you from going there, but like, it just goes to show you there's this disconnect between Hollywood and what the standards are of, like, they spent millions of dollars to like cut him out of this movie that he was in, but like,
wasn't the movie role, like the role in the movie he was supposed to play like kind of a predator?
Well, I don't know about this one. I know, like, but he played a predator a couple times in Workaholics and people found that ironic, I guess, but like,
there was a movie too. He
there
had
was
a
like
movie
an action
role.
movie too. I don't know what his role was, but I know
he was like
I
a
think
child.
They replaced him with Tig Notaro or something like that. It was like I was like, that's interesting. This like lesbian comedian. I don't, but like they made it seem like it was more like an action movie or something like that, from my recollection. But in other words, they spent a lot of money to reshoot all of the scenes that involve like these action sequences and helicopters and shit. And so it's like the lengths that Hollywood will go to quote unquote cancel you, like because of a vocal minority or whatever. It's just an interesting disconnect because, like, again, go to a Chris D'Elia show. Like, if you want, if you're curious about, like, can he make a, you know, giant theater full of people pay money to laugh at him still? Yeah. So if you
I
have
don't
that
know.
ability,
I get like that part. I guess like I think back to like Howard Stern and why Howard Stern was able to be syndicated and was #1 in all of the he had the ratings to have the leverage to do and say whatever he wanted, to the point where the radio stations would pay any of the FCC fines that he got for cursing or whatever. That makes sense, but he was just doing edgy material for the time period.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about like essay allegations and like a minor involved, like that's insane that they would just be like, well,
but
he
what I'm
still
saying
sells
is
tickets,
he's never
so-
gonna work in Hollywood again. But what you're looking at is really like, it's just the venue. It's like, because there's no face behind that. It's not like, you know, oh, well, the owner of this, you know, the Lincoln Theater is like gonna get canceled for having, you know, like there's
oh yeah. I kind of guess I had a mistaken thought that like comedy clubs are kind of part of the Hollywood circuit in a way, but they're disconnected. It's like an independent thing.
But he's also not doing clubs. Like he's not a club act. He's a theater act. You know what I mean? So it's like he's dealing with individual owners of theaters, and it's like, if you can pay the theater, rent the theater, and then sell it out, which he does, like he sells enough of a fan base for like anywhere he goes, he can sell out a theater. So it's like, that's what makes you uncancelable, is that people will pay money to show up to watch you fucking talk for an hour into a microphone. Like, then you can do whatever the fuck you want, you know? And if you haven't done anything on YouTube that gets you kicked off of YouTube, like, then you can still be on YouTube, you know, if you're not Jimmernam.
Yeah. Maybe we need to do a memorial for
Lossless.
Jimmernam. Oh yeah,
He's the guy who
Luana.
he got Jimmernam's channel deleted.
Hi Luana, I don't know if you can hear me.
He's a good guy, I promise. He's
Yes,
nothing-
I took down Jimmernam for you.
He's the anti-Jimmernam.
I'm the anti-Jimmernam. Not Asian.
Yeah, that's the only metric. He's
That's
not-
kind of, I'm kind of blown away that was the result of that whole thing. That it, you know, I know going into something, if there's a conflict and someone's going to lie about me and spread lies about me, I know that I'm going to be ruthless and I'm never going to stop until you want to quit. But to actually get to witness that whole thing unfold I don't even know how that channel went down. Like that was the thing, like, hey, we need to get that one down because that's his biggest channel. And it just goes down on its own. It's crazy. Kind of weird how that happened.
Jimmernam's main TFATK channel got deleted. We're just
Hi.
Oh my god.
Oh, come on, baby.
She's scared.
Jeez, don't be self-conscious. You're cute and beautiful. You look great.
I could have asked her some questions because she had interactions with him. And I know, Luana, if you can hear me, I know that he had talked to you and kind of like messed with both of your heads to get information out of you too. And he's gone now. He quit
He's
YouTube.
gone. So all the videos that he made like are gone.
Nice.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, when he was talking to me the first time around,
Okay. Go ahead.
You don't have to point it out, or if you don't want to.
I don't think he was messing with my head. He was kind of like,
He was simping for you, really.
Yeah, can you set the record
manipulated.
straight? Because he made it sound like you were playing him. Can you make set the record
set
straight?
that, because
He made
I
it
played
seem
both of
like
them,
he
actually wanna
had a
play you.
chance with you.
Like you played me, but also Luana manipulated the fuck out of you.
I mean,
Because you're
I
a
just
simp.
wanted information at the time because everything was really weird, and I didn't talk to Mark, and there was so much shit, and I mean, I wasn't doing well mentally at all. And when he reached out to me, he said he was in contact with Mark. So I was like, well, I want to know what the fuck's actually going on. Like, I want to know what's been happening. He said, I can't. And I talked to him for 8 hours on the phone.
Holy shit!
And did he try to meet up with him? Was he like, oh, we should meet up?
No,
Didn't he say like, oh, we should hang out sometime or something?
8 hours. That's like a Jimmernam stream.
You said he like suggested that you hang out, but it was like to me, I was like,
honestly, like
he was like, because he called you and he's like, oh yeah, Luana's so annoying. I'm like, but you talked to her willingly for 8
I
hours.
was talking to him, like at that time, by the way, like I said, I wasn't doing mentally well, so I was just anyways. Like,
Well, clearly he didn't have shit going on.
And it wasn't something.
That's insane. How did you withstand listening to him for 8 hours?
Oh, he had to listen to me for 8
Oh, okay.
But again, he stayed on the phone, so it's like he always talks about like, I'm busy, I have shit. I'm like, well, you cleared out 8 hours on a Sunday to talk to.
Well, because I could hear that he was drinking.
Oh, you could hear that he was drinking, huh?
Yes, yes, alcoholic for sure. That's the only way he's able to stream. He was very drunk, so Luana, you'll be very amused to know his last final stream, he announced, this is my last stream, I'm leaving YouTube. And then he got so drunk that he just kept playing the same songs over and over again, trying to get sympathy. And he chose the worst possible songs. He was playing Creed, and then he was playing Green Day, Good Riddance, like as if it was the Seinfeld finale. And he played that same song like 3 times. And he kept going, all right, everybody, this is the end of it. Goodbye. Thank you for everyone for listening. And then he would keep continuing on and on and on. And then he like started playing live performance versions of songs, which 90% of the time YouTube's not going to recognize you're doing it. They only know the actual song. And he goes, this is what we do. Look at me. YouTube,
yeah, he was
can't
like
take me down.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
take me down, YouTube. You can't take me down. This is what we do. We play songs and they can't even copy strike me. And then he gets copy stricken for that. He's down for like 10 minutes and he doesn't give up. He comes back again. The stream lasted, I think, like 8 hours or something.
Yeah.
And he was just coping the whole time. Oh, and she doesn't even know about the funniest part, that he was catfished by a 61-year-old Hispanic man.
Listen to this. Yeah. So he thought he was like talking to this cute young blonde girl. He was like bragging about it. He's like, oh, this chick Peyton, like, this is my new girlfriend. She's hotter than all your girlfriends. Like, blah, blah, blah. No. He goes, is it Brendan's Peyton? Because the side chick named Peyton, who's like this brain dead 23-year-old. It was a real girl's picture, and who located the actual girl? I think you did, right?
So this woman, Peyton, that's a moderator of his channel, she was donating all these sums of money, and he kept calling everyone else's wife ugly or girlfriend ugly, saying, my girlfriend's so hot, your girlfriend's a manatee, and you have a boyfriend. He would call everyone's wife or girlfriend a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then someone reverse image searched the avatar of this woman, Peyton, to a 24-year-old TikToker, and then the people who knew her only knew her through the internet, this fake Peyton. So they never went as far as to actually validate who she was on camera. And they said she kind of had a weird Spanish accent. And so everyone was afraid to reach out to this woman. So I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'll do it. So I message her on TikTok and I say, hey, there's this guy named Jimmernam mOrBiD who's claiming that he's dating you. Is that true? And if it is, I'm sorry to interrupt or bother you. And she goes, what? She finally answers. She's like, who? And that's when I knew, holy shit, yeah, this guy's getting catfish. And she's like, give me the link.
Yeah. How'd you find the picture of the real person that was posing as this 20-year-old cute blonde girl?
I wish I could put it up, but this woman's been privacy striking every copy of a video that has it. So now you know it's real.
But I can show you a picture of it. It's clearly like a 55-year-old transvestite. like even with like a face tuned like face filter, like that's a man.
Imagine a 24-year-old blonde TikTok girl, and then it's the complete opposite of that. That's what it is.
So that's what this transvestite was posing as this person and convinced Jimmernam that like they were dating.
But why?
Because that person does that, and Jimmernam's super desperate and so thirsty that, you know, again, what guy's gonna
so huge
8 hours on a day, like, you know, like he cleared an entire business day to talk about drama with you and not even record it. So what a fucking loser that guy is.
Yeah, he was also like telling me to not do any podcast. I mean, he was completely right. I mean, he gave me some good tips about that. Because
Right, but also, you know where his tips come from is the fact that he's like been outed for child grooming. He used to have a Discord with like kids where he put like 10-year-olds in charge of like porn Discords and shit like that. So he has like actual legit group, and that's like one of the reasons that so many people have turned against him is because this guy has a legit creepy background. If you go to his eBay channel right now, he has like an eBay store. Guess what he sells it at? Mickey Mouse and plush doll toys and vintage pornography.
Yeah.
It's not a lie. That's the only two things. It's like, and he puts like really well used plush doll. It's like, it's like it gave me the fucking heebie-jeebies when I first.
Stains. He points to the stains.
He like points to the stains. like he fucks Mickey Mouse dolls. Like I'm just like it's funny because it's true. Like
yeah.
I know. Don't worry. No. But it's that's nothing to do with Brendan. This is a guy who he crossed this guy. The guy who on the stream.
Well, it kind of does because he runs a channel dedicated to obsessing over Brendan. So that's his whole channel. And then he used both of you to try and get information, like trying to be friends with you to both get information. And I asked the same question she did, like when you said, why did this woman catfish? And I said that too, like, why would someone do that? And it's like, it's hard to deal with the logic of someone who is crazy because your brain doesn't work that way. So you can never understand it. And there's no explaining it. Some people are just nuts, but he tried to make her the victim last night. It was last night, I think. Yeah. He tried to say the fake Peyton is the victim because she was outed and it's unfair. And it's like, this woman has been stealing the identity. So you asked me before, how did they find out the real picture of her? So it turns out this fake Peyton not only catfished Jimmernam, but catfished a boyfriend before him for a year. He believed he was dating this 24-year-old as well, and her online best friend. So the best friend is the one who wrote the anonymous email to May Noodles saying, hey, this girl Peyton is a friend of mine, and it's weird that she'd be dating mOrBiD. That's not a type of guy that this 24-year-old TikTok girl that they thought she was would date. So she spun this whole narrative. It's just going on for a year or more. And then they came up when they saw me bring the real Peyton on. I managed to get the real Peyton on panel and in his chat writing, I'm the real Peyton. Who are you? And all that. Yeah. Then they felt comfortable coming forward and coming on camera. And they told us who the real Peyton is because they found her name and pictures. And her name is Karen. So she's a real Karen. And the funny thing is Jimmernam ran a channel called Karen Memes. And then he was dating a certified Karen. It writes itself. You couldn't write this if you tried.
Yeah, well, one of his ex-girlfriends he saw like 2 times during the pandemic or something like that. So he's like, Jimmernam's got a history, and I saw some of them. So I don't know if you've seen what he looks like in real life, but he's like fat, he's balding, he looks old, he's in his mid-40s, he looks terrible, his face is bloated, he's an alcoholic, he like takes Xanax to wake up in the morning, but he used pictures of himself. He'll say like, oh, this is me. And it's like him with like a chiseled jaw from 20 years ago. You know, it's like, I'm just saying, it's like what goes around comes around. Like he's a catfisher who got the shit catfished out of him. So
he's so paranoid that he believed that we were the ones who set up the catfish. Like he thinks that we knew this Peyton girl somehow and got him catfish. But he was dating her since October. And the saddest part is that he not only did a stream saying how hot she was, on one of the streams, he admitted to congratulating himself.
Congratulating to
now knowing who it really is. It's kind of, I can't help but laugh.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I mean, the amount, like, I just was always astonished at how much this guy, like, you know, when he first started like leaving harassing voicemails at me, like I told you before, I was like, God, you're just like, you're so bad at this. And you keep like self-owning, you know what I mean? Like you could just leave the things. He didn't have to bring you up. He didn't have to bring me up.
Yeah.
You know, but he just like, you know, people who are like him, they just have this habit of they have to push it, that extra limit. They have to do something so fucking stupid and tell that extra lie. And one of the funny things was, so the reason that Chris was like, we're even discussing this is Jimmernam, like Chris has been broadcasting to like a bunch of people live streaming since like the late 2000s. You know, he used to do like a post Howard Stern show wrap up that went out to like 30,000 people. And like Jimmernam called in one time as like a fan. and he showed me the recording of it where he's like, "Hey, this is Jimmernam. Racism, yeah, man, you should just like don't talk about it; it'll go away." Like he had this super like lame milquetoast response where Chris was talking about Joyner Lucas's "I'm Not Racist" video, if you remember that from like 2018. Like, so he found in his show notes, he's like, "Oh my God, Jimmernam called in as like a fan, you know, 5-6 years ago," but that comes into play because the only reason he's here doing this live stream is Jimmernam was like, "I taught that guy everything he knows. I was streaming for him." And it's like, "Oh, really, dude?" I'm not obsessed with it. I'm explaining it to you. It's just it's funny.
That's how Robin reacts to me as well. Don't worry. When I try to tell her stuff, she's like, "I don't care."
Because of
why
the
are you telling me this?
Because of the irony of somebody going like, "Oh, I'm so fucking sick. I taught this guy everybody knows," and then you summoned him, and then he ended your.
It's the passion behind it. They get concerned when you're so passionate about it. It's like, well, why do you care?
This is just, by the way, Chris is a great dude. I told him I'd call into the stream, you know, on my way back from here. But a lot of people are asking me for interviews. I'm not going to do your fucking interview. Anybody else?
Just so I had found this. I used to write notes in it, and just it's weird. It's almost like the universe wanted to get rid of this guy because everything fell into place. It's so odd. And I just like found this in the closet, and then I turned the page to like 2018.
Yeah.
And, let me see.
Yeah, because you
can
said
see
it was
right
like,
here.
Like you'd forgotten about it. And like I said, I watched the clip. I'm like, this guy who claims to be the best broadcaster of all time and has this insane sense of grandiosity about how good he is at broadcasting. You sent me the clip. I'm like, I would have forgotten too because he's completely unremarkable. He couldn't even take a stance on the thing that you were talking about.
He was like, it's so funny actually now in context. The question was like, have you dealt with racism? What do you think about it? Because at the time there was the riots going on where Chapel Hill, where they took the statue down, the Confederate statue, and there was riots over that.
There was a lot to have an opinion about.
Yeah,
and he had no opinion.
He's like, just don't think about race, man. Just let it go away, and it won't happen anymore. And then now, fast forward. He did a whole speech about he's not successful because he's Asian, and that's his sole reason for not being successful. He made up this whole creepy story. I wish I don't want to get too into him, but like it's so fascinating to listen to it because I know the truth. He told this whole lie for an hour, a story about how he used to try and get time on radio stations and that he was going to be a big radio star, like on actual terrestrial radio, and that they loved his work and his voice, and he was so great. And then when they saw him in person, that he was Asian, they said, "Oh no, sorry, you're not marketable." And that's why he had to start YouTube. And he was the first YouTube live streamer, he claimed. In 2018, I'm like, what are you talking about? There's people streaming in like 2003. I was doing it 2009, like, and he's claiming he's the first person to ever be on camera on YouTube. I was like, what the?
Yeah.
And he believed it, and he says it with confidence. Like he truly believes it in his mind. How do you come up with a lie that insane?
Right. And so I'm, you know, like you, I'm just always drawn to this, like, it's not like the grandiosity is fascinating, but then when that person crosses you or tries to fuck with your life, it's like, guess what I get to do now? Expose you, fuckface.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. So
it was like dominoes for sure.
Yes. But so this is the guy who just put it out. And essentially you were able to tell his story in a coherent way. Like you made this intro to our live stream that was just like compiling the like key bits of evidence, and you did it in a very short period of time. But it's like what existed before was a bunch of people with kind of like, oh, I had this bad interaction, or I know this weird story, or this weird thing happened, or I'm aware of this. And you kind of just made a montage of like, here's a fucking groomer, you know, narcissistic sociopath.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Bad time don't last. I don't know. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it, but bad time don't last, but bad guys do.
And he spells but B-U-D.
But bad guys do.
Like,
and he 7 hours and 40 minutes long. I just want to try and like, let me just skim the end. But also in the chat. So here's what someone had a good theory. They said he claimed he's leaving for like 6 months. And he's trying to garner all the sympathy and money from people. Like,
He also said his TFATK channel was going to be back. We talked about this earlier, but he said
that ain't coming
I'll
back.
have that channel by the end of the week. And I'm like, is that even remotely possible?
Someone claimed, or not someone claimed, someone theorized that maybe he's moving because of everything that happened.
I mean, I would if I was him.
Yeah, because his address is out there. Everybody
Well, I
knows
said, how
it.
can he? He has no money.
I don't know
It's true.
sorry for him, or if he's a creep, because obviously if he's doing shit with children, he's a pervert.
He is a pervert, and also tries to like. I mean, he tried to like.
Oh, I didn't even tell you everything. That's just the. I just went straight to the worst thing. I mean, we're talking that. That's the iceberg going up from like doxing people's children, their social security numbers, to spoofing people's parents' number to call them and pretend their parents are getting murdered.
He does
I
crazy
can't even
shit. Also takes advantage
on
of
and
a
on.
handicap woman for like donations and stuff like that.
Retarded woman?
7 years.
She's known as Wendy the retard. That's her name. That's what he refers to her as. So I'm just saying she's a mentally handicapped woman who he like steals donations from her, and he uses prop to gain.
In fair, like people always make this disclaimer too, like in fairness, Wendy doesn't know what she's doing and she always claims she needs money and the story changes, but like that's part of her disability. Like you have to be the adult and the responsible one and go, hey, this woman's donating all this money. I couldn't imagine accepting and being funded my life and my rent, or if I lived in his apartment, paid by Wendy.
Right.
Like, I couldn't imagine living off of that woman's government assistance money. Like, are you kidding me?
And so all signs point to somebody who has no moral compass whatsoever. And that's why he was able to like his brag to me is like, oh, I fucking tricked you and Luan. It's like, it's not really something to brag about. Well, what I'm saying is he was playing in his eyes, and from his mouth, he played both of us. Really, he only betrayed me and you played him. But in his mind, he's like the fucking grandiose puppet master. And it's like, first of all, that's not a flex because you're also trying to come off like a good guy.
Anything he got was from my private.
Luana, I know that. What I'm telling you, you played him, but he thinks that he played you.
Yeah, I just don't know.
And obviously, that's a grandiose, insane claim.
Let me see if I can just get a quick clip of like, I don't want to play the music, but I want to hear him because he was super drunk, really drunk.
Found the greatest love of all.
Is that
This is him singing?
Yes, man, since you laid down your life. Greatest
The other thing is everything he does is ripped off. Everything. So the Le Champion, he calls himself, is a Chris Jericho thing. He plays the theme song. He's everything, like most of it's stolen from wrestling. His intro is like Back to the Future. This artwork of the skeleton is even stolen. He didn't even draw this. He stole this too.
Of course you did.
It's insane to me. Everything. That's all he does. It's all bootleg. It's all bootleg. I wanted to see just a clip of him crying a bit.
I mean, and there's just people like that who, again, he realized at some point he doesn't have an original fucking thought in his entire head. And that's why he's been grifting ever since. The TFATK community was just another popular community that he realized generated its own content. But it's like me, reading the fucking New York Times every day and being like, look at my original content channel where I read articles out loud, New York Times. It's like, did you write that?
It's like you could do this, make the content, and then make the clips out of it. You can build something. Know what's funny? He actually admitted for the first time he doesn't create content. That was one good thing that came out of it. At one point during the show, he said to them, because they kept going, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? You could just keep going. And he's like, I need to rethink my life. I'm not making content. This is just shit. And he was kind of admitting that he's just a grifter and he doesn't know how to create anything and that he needs to take a break to figure out how to do that. It's like, you just get on camera and talk. Some people in the beginning are not going to care. You're going to have people that are going to talk shit about you. Just like tonight, I had people in here talking shit. I put them up on the screen. I don't care. They're here watching. Let them say whatever they're going to say.
Yeah, well, I think that his main hurdle to that, like I said, I just remember watching anything that he's done that involves him like having to talk or having to talk shit to me or leaving his voicemails or his texts. I'm like, you have nothing original to say. So, and it is true that if you want to be any sort of creator or artist or, you know, do anything original, you have to get in touch with who the fuck you are. And this is a guy who I just think is, you know, like any narcissist, it's like, they have a shell that they present to the world, but they don't have an actual real sense of self, you know? And so, you know, you can say, yeah, go take as much time as you want to figure that out. But it's
the same as, what I was saying before about like kind of the type of content, what he was doing, if you want to look at it from a psychopath's perspective, is kind of genius in a way. Like he knew what type of content that a specific demographic of people would watch.
Oh yeah.
And he goes for the true crime community, which, no offense, there's a lot of like older women a part of it who don't really understand YouTube more than just like, hey, this is content that I'm watching. And they don't know how to do research on people to the level of like, hey, this guy has 7 years under all these different pseudonyms before all of this stuff that you guys don't even know about, and they don't care enough to get invested on that level. So to them, he's just this mOrBiD guy who comes on with the, hey, it's mOrBiD voice and tells them stories, and like they enjoy it and they give him money for it. It's like a simple transaction. He knows that. He knows that he's grifting those types of people, and that they're not going to challenge him.
So whenever people, because you're right, that it's like, it does take a certain type of intelligence to hone in on something like that. But I go, I'm proud that I don't think like that, because it's like, you know how you arrive at those conclusions? By constantly thinking, how do I manipulate people to get money the easiest for doing nothing while like taking advantage of like ignorant people? My mind doesn't really think that way. So it's like, you can give him credit for being good at doing that, but it's like, that's a skill that I wouldn't want to be known for having. You know what I mean? And when he brags about it, like, oh, I manipulate, it's like, you know, like manipulating and exploiting people, like, it's not a flex. That's just outing yourself as having a cluster B personality disorder.
The governor that stops you from doing it should be the flex. Like anybody can think that way. Like you think anybody could do that. Anyone could have done that. Anyone.
Have no moral compass.
Doing it is
remorse, you know.
Yeah. I guess he thinks it's impressive that he's able to do it and not care.
Yeah, like it takes no courage.
I could start a channel tomorrow and do true crime stories, pay some guy on Fiverr to do the voiceovers, and I don't even have to talk if I don't want to, and make some garbage channel. There's so many ways to make money on YouTube that are just so sleazy that I could do, but in my head I would just go, oh, no, I don't. I would feel awful every day knowing that that's what I do.
Correct.
And he just never took the chance to try and be himself as a creator, and he just always grifted every community that he was in. And it's sad because I even said when he first came around, if I didn't find out about all the weird stuff he was into when someone first introduced him to me, you heard when he called into my show how nice he was, right?
Yeah.
Super nice guy, humble Jimmernam.
Right. And the one that he seemed really nice to her too. And to me, that's why he's like, oh, like I tricked him. Like, you were just being nice to me and I was being nice back. Like, I don't know what, like, that's how normal human interactions work, you know, like until you betray me. And then it's like, okay, I just cut you off, but then you kept making content about me, you know, or like you, it's like you cut him off and then he like kept talking about you years later.
That is a weird flex to be like, yeah, I was nice to you and you fell for it. Like, if you're psychopathic enough to actually be convincingly nice, then not really mean it. That's crazy, man.
Like text someone every day and be like, how you doing, man? What's up? Are you all good? It's like, yeah, like people normally do that to me anyway, and I have to just ignore, you know. So it's like, it's just like
this makes me think of it if it connects to all of the things that we were saying, like even going back to the Crystalia thing, like my brain was trying to figure out how his wife deals with that. Is it the same thing where he's that psychopath who is able to manipulate people into thinking they're a good person no matter what they do? Because that kind of ties in with Jimmernam. Like, he's done so many heinous things, but people still support him. Is that what it is? Is it the psychopathy that allows them to manipulate people, that they overlook the most insane things,
I think
to
that,
level with children involved?
I was telling a story to somebody, like the first encounter I ever had with a sociopath, or someone on this spectrum, was a guy who was the strength and conditioning coach of my wrestling and football teams in high school. He convinced everyone in the community that he had stomach cancer and that his death was sort of like any month now. You know what I mean? Now, in retrospect, there were all these red flags. Like, he said he had cancer, and like if you missed practice, it was he had to do chemo. But it's like, and he like shaved his head every day. But he also had a mustache and like a goatee, like facial hair like us, and like full eyebrows. Like in retrospect, you're like, duh, he didn't have cancer. But at the time, nobody fucking doubted him, because once you get somebody to buy into this idea, you get one person to buy into the notion that you have cancer. Well, then if I hear from somebody else that this person has cancer, now I'm going to be like, hey, are you sure you have cancer? And what he was able to do, like, he ended up fucking this girl on the wrestling team, who was like the only girl on the wrestling team. And he like took her to some out-of-state tournament, and like they had sex, and like it all came out, but it was like 2 years of manipulation based on sympathy. But that guy also, like, he had a certain charisma about him, a certain way about him, where like he'd be like, you are the most special person. Like, he kind of, you know, he had this ability to make you feel special. And when someone makes you feel special, your level of criticism of them, like, just, it gets, you can shut that down entirely. You can shut people's skepticism and desire to like kick you out of their life, as long as you're providing this source of like feel. Because like, you talk to him and someone's like, he could really make your brain tingle with positive emotions about like the promise of something in the future. Like, you're going to be great. Like, if you just listen to me, you know, kind of like not even saying that directly, but implying that. And he had the wildest stories about himself. He told us like he was part of some top secret, like the reason that he had cancer was he was part of like, and this is like, it's like, you guys can't repeat this, you know, but I was part of this. I was picked to be part of this government training program because they were looking for athletes, major mismatches. Like, he said he was an Olympic alternate in the 1500, which is like the most like, for a guy who was like, he was like 6'3", 220. It was like, you were an Olympic alternate for the 1500. And then he was like, and he also said, I was like New Jersey state champion wrestler. And then I was also an Olympic alternate. And so like the government picked me to be part of this program where they did like back-to-back like special forces training. So he's like, I did Army Rangers training straight into like Navy SEALs training, straight into like this other training. And like, he said some crazy shit about twice a week they'd hook me up to a treadmill and make me run at like a full sprint.
Okay.
It's like the craziest shit. Like, but like as a 16-year-old, you're like, you know, so.
Oh yeah, 16, easy to manipulate. Yeah.
Right. So everywhere he'd go on campus, he'd have this like throng of kids like following him around and worshiping like a fucking god. And I remember like the day that he got caught, like seeing him, we were like on the football field, and it was like and the adults. So he got caught, and the adults on our football team let him be with us on the team the next day. Like, everything came out. The cops were called. Like
how did he get caught? Like, what happened?
What happened was the head coach of the wrestling team, because this guy just basically finagled his way onto the team, like, because he'd met like one of the stars of the wrestling team like at the gym or something. So he was like, oh, this is my lifting buddy. It's like, why is a 40-year-old hanging out with a 17-year-old? You know what I mean? Like, the guy was like my age or older, like hanging out with like a high school kid. And they went on like a double date somehow. And like the guy was like crying the whole time. This guy, Joe Lesnack. And he, like, at the end of the movie, the high school kid was like, what's wrong, man? Why have you been crying this whole time? And he's like, I was just diagnosed with cancer. Like, I have, 6 months to live, or whatever it was. Anyway, he like, and so he gets introduced as like, hey, this guy, like, he knows a lot about this. Maybe he could help out. And the head coach is kind of like, yeah, sure, I guess. Like, we could use another hand, you know? But like slowly over time, he was trying to like kind of overtake the head coach, who was younger than him at the time. The guy was only, and I'm still friends with this guy, Mike Gardner, the Maryland wrestling coach at the time.
he just noticed, he was like, over time, like I noticed he'd like try to be like kind of like edge me out of the situation, even though I was like the head coach. And then also he started piecing together that like he was lying about cancer, because he'd be like, oh, I can't see it on my left eye. But then like you're driving and he'd like look over his left shoulder to take a turn, like, but like piece by piece, he was like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. And he was the only person who's kind of like not suspending his disbelief. And so finally, as football season and wrestling season are overlapping, it was the last practice of the football season and wrestling had already started. And Mike basically like figured out that he didn't have cancer, and he had like found some other lady from like another town who was like, oh yeah, that guy ran that same scam on me. Like, yeah, he was dying of cancer. Well, that was 4 years ago. Like he said the same exact shit. So like he found other people this guy had scammed basically. And he was going to be cordial about it. He was like, hey Joe, like, look, man, this isn't working out. And Joe was like, what? Like these are my fucking kids. Like he put up this fight. And so imagine this is all happening like outside the wrestling room before wrestling practice, but like at the end of our football practice, does that make sense? So like we're like on the football field and it's like 50 yards away, we can see the entrance to the wrestling room, and we're like, why are these two guys yelling at each other? You know, but you couldn't hear like what they were saying. You just hear like, fuck you, like a lot of like, yeah, you know. And then he like walks off at some point. And what happened from there was like the kids start coming in, because it was like before wrestling practice. The kids come in for wrestling practice. And he makes this announcement to the whole team. He's like, hey guys, look, I know this sucks, but like, oh, and during that confrontation, he was like, I know you don't have fucking cancer. And like, that's when Joe like took off. He's like, oh, fuck. Like, you know, like he knew he was caught with the cancer at least, right?
With his bald head, he ran away.
After Mike had tried to just be like, hey man, like this isn't working out. I think you want something different, like, you know, but like I don't like how you're trying to like take control of the team, basically, right? He wanted to limit the conversation to that, but it escalated to the point where he's like, yeah, I know you don't have fucking cancer, dude, and I found this other lady who knows you. So like it blew up and they like separated, but then the team members of the wrestling team start to come in, and he has to gather them around the head coach and be like, hey guys, look, unfortunately Joe's not going to be with us this year. You know, he's going to move on and do something else. It didn't work out. Like, I know it's going to suck for a lot of you guys, but, you know, you're supposed to do this 5-mile run. If you don't want to do it, I totally get it. It's fine. Like, I know it's emotionally difficult for you, but all the wrestlers go out and do it. They're like, it's all right. Like, oh, that sucks. Like, well, you know, but let's go do this run. And everybody starts out running. And then the one girl like runs like 100 yards and then like drops like in this like right before like the street, you know, like there's like the grass like on the sidewalk, you know, and she starts like like she like is like starts bawling like on her knees, and the head coach sees this and like goes up to her. He's like, what's going on here? And he goes up to her like, hey, you know, I know this is tough like to get through, and I know you really like Joe. And she looks up at him and is like, he loved me. We loved each other. Like starts like talking like that, you know, like we had a relationship. He's like, whoa.
What the fuck?
He's like, what happened? Like, you need to tell me what happened. And so she like starts spilling her guts, and he like runs to the fucking payphone, because like we didn't really have cell phones, but this is like, you know, 2001, 2000 maybe actually. And I remember my buddy was like, he was like, because he told me right after, he's like, the wrestling coach just like snatched the payphone out of my hand and like hung up my call and like called the police, you know. But he was like, that's like, so I like without any context, I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, like fucking Mike came out of nowhere and fucking like literally ripped the phone out of my hand, hung up my call, and then called 911. It was like, we need the police here now, like blah blah. And so that's how he got caught. He had this like ongoing relationship with a 17-year-old girl, and like
faking cancer. What the fuck?
Yeah. But like that led to, it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, I guess, you know, lying about cancer is harder to criminally charge unless you directly get money from people, which like, you know.
Yeah, there's been YouTubers have done that, or like fake being in a wheelchair. I remember this one guy, he was on a Twitch streamer, and he was like famous for being in a wheelchair streaming on Twitch. And that's actually funny because it's on camera. And then he forgets that he's streaming and gets up out of the chair. And then in the reflection, he had a fish tank or something behind him. You see him walking. And then his girlfriend like gets on or something and starts writing and like acting like nothing happened. It was a super cringe, like awkward moment where then everyone was like, is he gonna come back? Is he gonna come back? And then he just like had to quit streaming because he was doing like GoFundMe's for being in a wheelchair and everything.
Yeah. And so that was
how
all that kind of stuff where it's like, I'm sure when it involves like, it's almost like wire fraud. Cause like if you're getting people to like send you money, like over state line, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm sure it's a whole different set of laws, but at the time it was just like, it was more, I think, about the power, you know what I mean, for him. It wasn't like he like necessarily like extorted anybody for money or like got a bunch of donations, but like
the sympathy. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was most, he probably did get some money because like there was things he do like, oh, I'm gonna like run a clinic and like the kids can pay like $500 each to like get one, you know, like shit like that. But it's like, okay, it's a few $1,000. It wasn't anything major, but like for types like that, the power dynamic and the sadism, because he used to like do this thing called the Iron Man, and he would take one kid at a time and like put them through the most hellish workout you've ever been through, like in your life, like to like essentially try to like make you like quit and puke. And I was the first person he did it to on the football team, like because he just showed up one day and like he was like, here, Mark, like take this 45-pound plate. You're doing all the sprints with it. You're carrying it around the whole time. You have to do like, and when everyone's resting, you have to do sprints and push-ups. So he made this like crazy workout that was like designed to make me like puke and like pass out. And then at the end of it, like when I didn't quit, he was like, Mark is the first Iron Man. It's like, oh my God, so cool. Like I'm the first, you know, so it's like you turn this like sadistic ass shit into like congratulations, Mark. Like now I get to, you know, be sadistic to all you fucking kids like over the next 2 months. And
you want to hear sadistic? So I'm getting copies of some of these like emails that people are sending in to other people.
Yeah.
Why are you still alive? Are you too stupid to kill yourself properly? I thought you wanted to die. No wonder your ex-husband beat you. You deserve it for hurting mOrBiD. You betrayed mOrBiD, you B. You are members to his enemies. Meglarer, whoosh, Queen Bee, I see everything. I know where you live, Amanda Bowman. You live in Staten Island.
Who's that writing? They're writing to who?
This is some crazy psychopath writing, I think to May Noodles or something. Another one. F you for being one of the reasons why mOrBiD quit YouTube. As if like we're in control of his actions.
Well, the whole thing, I mean, like, I don't know how many wrong turns you have to take in life in order to be like a diehard fan of Jimmernam.
Yeah, I mean, if you're this upset about Jimmernam, you need to rethink your life,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. And people say this as a joke sometimes, like, you know, like, hey, reevaluate your life. But it's like, like I say this with all sincerity, with no hyperbole. Like, if you're a fan of Jimmernam or mOrBiD, like, take a step back, ask for some people who you can trust to give you advice on, you know, the several wrong turns you've taken to end up at a place where you're writing death threats to the ex-girlfriend of Jimmernam.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what the... I don't know how to help you people. I mean, you saw what he did, but also, like, after 7 years of him tormenting people, what happened to him, right? Two of his channels, they're porn bombed or whatever, and he got a suspension for a week. He came right back. His TFATK channel went down for something he did. Nobody else... I don't know how that went down, honestly. Except for impersonation, which is probably because he was creating a channel that was impersonating the fighter and the kid. If you search them up, it looked like it was part of it. And then what else? He got catfished, and that's his fault for having such a huge ego that he believed a 24-year-old TikToker was into him. Like, that's what happened to him. Boo-hoo. And now he's quitting. Like, that's
nothing has that happened to him. But like we discussed before, I think the number one, you know, tactics that to manipulate people that sociopaths use, or people on that spectrum, you know, whether you're a narcissist or a sociopath, is sympathy. So we see that it's like all he was doing was trying to gain sympathy, and that's the number one thing that people will manipulate you by if you allow them to. And the same, you know, that connects this situation of like, you know, getting someone to believe you have cancer allows you to fucking do anything you want, including fuck underage girls, you know? So
this guy has been the whole show. They want the impression, I guess the Redbar impression. He just won't shut up.
Man, we got Hello Mark Harley live here. We're going to talk about crystal man touching kids. Did Brian Callen? Now, did you ever witness Brian Callen fingering Brendan's butthole? Got a nice clip coming up of a guy named Lossless. He wants to be my best friend. Lossless, huge Redbar. Now, he's into Redbar, right? He loves Redbar. Huge Redbar fan. You don't want to get confused, though, because some of these clip channels will make Redbar clips, and then you don't know, are they doing a new Redbar show? I don't know. Is that a new Redbar? So it's very confusing. And so we don't want to be, we don't want to, we don't want to be antagonistic towards them, but you do want to tell them, no, this is Redbar and this is not Redbar. That's all.
There you go. Are you happy now? Can you stop asking?
I know it's very confusing.
Yes.
Sam Tripoli tried to murder me. Sam Tripoli tried to murder me, and I wouldn't leave my house and let my dog piss off a balcony.
Yeah, that was so much more fun. I was, maybe I should have just continued making weird videos, because now that it's out there, now the lore is gone, but you know what? It was still funny. That was so much fun to do. And have Rich on before, because a year ago, like, I was laughing my ass off when he sent me that screenshot of the message of him saying, I'm gonna gut you like a fish, or I hope Sam Tripoli finds you. And like, yeah. Mike took it seriously. I think that's the issue. Like, I don't know, if he would have handled that whole situation differently, I think he has come across opportunities in his career where it could have benefited him in some way. And I feel like he just has this instinct to just sabotage immediately. And it's like, I came to you saying, hey, I have all these things to offer. Like, I could help out with his website. Like, his website sucks, first of all. Yeah. There's a lot of issues with it. There's a loophole in it where people can just download all of his stuff for free. And I was offering it just out of like, hey, I enjoy your show and during the pandemic, and hey, I can help you out. And then it sort of escalated into this thing where he's like, you're trying to be my best friend. And I have all the emails because I always wanted to just show them.
Yeah.
I won't read through them all, but like, I compiled them all to where I can show it later, actually, because I'm going to end soon. But it's a back and forth. Like, he's talking to me, I'm talking to him. Yes, some of my emails are a bit long, but I'm trying to explain to him in text form a lot of context, because at the start of it, there were people telling him
how you can actually help him.
Yeah, but also they were in the BBG, and after I released the video of the Sam Tripoli thing, and they were like, he's like working with Sam Tripoli, and he's trying to like get you doxxed or something, or help Sam Tripoli, and spreading all this information that wasn't true. And so I was trying to explain to him like, hey, I'm doing a clip channel, here it is. And then also this whole Sam Tripoli thing, let me explain the truth to you, so you know that I'm not some threat. And it just kind of escalated to where he got fed up, I guess.
I think he has a pathological inability to cooperate, given all the bridges that he's burned. And then also, so you see this a lot with like highly paranoid people, much like Brendan, for example. But like, I've met other people who are like, they have some degree of notoriety, but it also is like paired with this like extreme paranoia where you go like you're helping me? Because I go like, when someone's trying to help me, I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm a good person. Why wouldn't you try to help me? Like,
yeah, like, what's up with this? Why are you trying to help me?
Like, you're secretly evil, but it's a projection of the fact that like he's never had an altruistic thought go through his brain. So like, how could be genuinely looking at his show and be like, I want to help you out? It's either like you're my slave or you're my enemy. You know what I mean? And so there's no in between, where it's just like a guy being like, oh, hey, I like to help people. And like, because I do that with fitness, where it's like people ask me questions and I'll help them. I'm like, yeah, I don't like, maybe I could make a business out of this, but like, yeah, it's just like fun to help people sometimes. And like, for some people that just doesn't even like, that's not, they're like, what? You would do something for somebody like for just no reason, like out of the goodness of your heart? Like, guys like Redbar, that doesn't compute. So therefore you must have a hidden agenda, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time doing that. Like, when I had Pod Trash, most of it was spent helping people learn how to like set up a microphone and a mixer and get on. And I wasn't being paid by them to do it. I was just doing it because I wanted to help people do a show. And I like the idea of having like a network of a bunch of people on it and kind of building up someone who I found interesting and turned them into someone who broadcasts. And also now I have an example of it. This guy, Uncle Podcast, showed up out of nowhere, started clipping the show for me, making clips, did like 40 timestamps of the last episode we did. It's insane. And he did it just out of nowhere. And he just messaged me and he's like, hey, here's all the timestamps. I didn't go, why is this guy helping me? This is so weird. Who are you? You're a weird guy. What are you trying to kill me? I was like, wow, thank you so much. That's so awesome. Like, he needs to learn, he needs better onboarding for his fans, if that makes sense. Like, he doesn't know how to take on new people. Because I saw one, someone sent me like a screenshot of a couple of people. Mark dropped down there. I saw screenshots of people who like join the BBG, right? And then they'll have a differing opinion. Like, they'll actually say they like a comedian that Redbar hates. And then the whole community like piles up on them and they're like, you're an idiot, fuck you. And they all start alienating the person into obeying. I don't like that. I don't like that, where you're gonna like pressure someone to agree with the group think. Like, that's weird. And that's why the other video that I was thinking of making was like trying to show why there's signs of a cult with the whole Redbar thing. And that maybe it ties into that whole Elan boarding school story. Like, he's trying to recreate the Elan boarding school. The BBG is now the Elan boarding school. You got to get your feelings out. And that's what he's doing. He's getting his feelings out to the TV. He's yelling at the TV. It all connects. It all connects. I'm telling you. I just never got to it. So what ended up happening is I was like, oh yeah, I kind of stopped watching the show, and now it's been a year, and I gave it a year. 2, in fact. And yeah, the show is a high quality show. The studio's great. He has a great taste for like the equipment that he buys and all that stuff. But like, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. And I don't like when people brag about the things they have either. Like, you'll notice when someone's like actually super successful and wealthy, they'll rarely bring up the things or kind of try to show it to you or tell you that. When someone's like, I know I saw a clip of him talking about Anthony Cumia's new set or something. He was like, oh yeah, look, gun on the table, most expensive gun, you're showing it off. Most expensive one's like $1,600. Like, I got like 30 guns. And I don't know, it's always, he's trying to prove something to you, that having money means something, by the clothes he wears to the things he buys the most expensive thing. You know, like my brother's kind of like that in a way. He thinks the most expensive thing is the best thing. We kind of have arguments about that. So I always think about that. That's a weird trait where people have that mindset. Like, the most expensive thing means I'm better than you and I have the best thing. And it's a lot of that. And it's a lot of like, that's why most of the studio isn't even used. Like, he's never even got up and gone to the other side of the studio where like the drums and guitars are. So that was his dream, to become the late night talk show, Howard Stern-esque kind of guy. And he did it. And he managed to, through the pandemic of 2 years of being people stuck at home during COVID. If it wasn't for that, I don't think any of this would even be happening. He might have never came back, but that was his lifeline, and he took it and he made money from it. So I don't wish him it badly. I don't hope his show fails or anything, or hate the person. I don't even think about him unless there's subjects that come up, and I'll openly talk about him. I'm not afraid to talk about him either. Most people are. Yeah, Mark got dropped off there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I was afraid to. That's okay. Most people are afraid to even talk about him, and I don't know. It's just weird. My just opinion now is that the reason I got into it was the conflicts that he would get back and forth with, and he would aim for people to respond. I understand that one guy showed up, and it's like, that's creepy that a guy would show up to your door trying to kill you over a joke. I can understand if he did something else, like with kids involved, and, you know, this Jimmernam guy we just talked about, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But just because he made fun of you, you show up to someone's door, that's crazy. So I get that part of it. I understand it. But it's like, that's one guy. So he's just given up that whole aspect altogether. And now it seems like, let's talk about the most famous person and be the most viral, but not even insert myself into YouTube. Like, if you're going to start talking about like Logan Paul and like all these celebrities, the most famous comedians, you might as well just be a YouTuber at that point. But
yes, I'm still on with my best friend. The one who wants to go to bed.
Yeah, Mark's my best friend now. Now we're always talking.
So we're
Robin's
best.
like,
Leave me alone.
why are you always talking to Mark? She's like, you talk to Mark so much. I'm gonna let you go in a few minutes though, Mark, because I have to end it because we have to wake up super early tomorrow. So
yes, you do.
Anything else you wanted to say before we leave?
No, man. Just you know, we're so you saw. I'm doing long form skits with Isaiah more and more. I'm gonna start posting on my YouTube. If you haven't followed me at Hello Mark Harley, I'm gonna start dropping, you know, more content on there as well. But I'm doing these longer form skits. So I'm a screenwriter, so I write these all out, and we're shooting them a little bit more professionally, you know, a little more like rehearsed, a little more in the style of like a Key and Peele, you know, with costumes and lighting and shit like that. So check out the latest one that just dropped on Isaiah's channel, and drop me a line if anybody has any questions or wants to talk. You know, I kind of prioritize actual questions about like fitness and shit like that in areas of my personal expertise. But you know where to find me. So if you want to reach out, I'm always happy to chat.
Awesome. And again, thank you, Mark, for coming on. You didn't have to do that, and I appreciate you doing so.
Yeah, man. Always happy to talk to you. So,
and good luck with what's the name of the show, the cooking show, going to be?
Or
you can't say.
I can. Right now it's called Meathead's Feast. So that may or may not be what we stick with. Meathead's
And
Feast.
you're part of it every episode ongoing?
Yes, it's going to be me and Isaiah.
Okay.
To
Meathead's Feast. I'll be watching.
Yeah.
I want to see Meathead's Feast.
Yeah, first episode, Brazilian Steakhouse, M Grill in Koreatown was fucking awesome. So right up my alley. All right.
All right. Thank you, Mark. I'll let you go.
I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, there we go. Mark Harley. Yeah, let's look at some of the chats here before I get out of here. What are you people saying? Absolutely adore May Noodles. We are following her. She's building a great community. Yeah, I don't know, it's so insane how fast that she built a YouTube channel based off of that. Like that situation could have ended with her getting the police called on her and the embarrassment of it, and then it just ending. And then it turns into it's so weird how life works that way. I've noticed that pattern too, like in my life. Like if I do something on the internet, it has this weird chain reaction effect. I won't get too much into it. It's my flow state. But yeah, I notice every time I touch this computer, things start happening. It's weird. I don't have control over it. Or maybe I do. Static says stream all night. Hell no. This was 2 hours and 50 minutes. I ain't no crazy person. I ain't going all night. You kidding me? I have things to do. Mark, what's up with the career-ending video about Schwab? Yeah, I always wonder that. Like, I didn't want to talk. We did a lot of the whole last episode is all TFATK stuff. And I didn't want to do that again because, again, I stick to my word. Like, the TFATK stuff, that's the Reddit. That's something I wouldn't join because it's too close to the source material, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's weird because now you got a whole community. And then it's the same thing where they're all using the same lingo. It's weird. I don't know. But it's a community, so I get it. But now I feel like Mark almost gets pigeonholed into that now, where that's what he's known as. So I understand the difficulty of that, trying to make something after leaving a show and that's all you're known for, and he's doing that. Meatheads feasting. You want to see a bunch of meatheads eat? I actually like cooking shows. Like, some of them are interesting. What is that other guy who does What's the guy that Redbar makes fun of? What's his name? Josh Denny. He did like a eating show. I think I saw that show before even knowing who that guy was. And I probably liked it for some reason. Because there was another guy, the guy from Stern, John Hine. John Hine did it was called Fast Food something. And it's so creepy because John Hine's like this overweight guy with diabetes. And then he would go and eat fast food and bring his insulin pump with him. And he'd like snack on like a burger this size and then have to start injecting insulin into himself. It was the most disgusting, vile thing, but I couldn't help but watch it. Let's see here. Lanky Tor, I'm glad we can talk back now. Social media. Yes, these people are writing all these insane psychotic messages. F you for inspiring mOrBiD to quit. I got these too, so don't feel like this is all targeted at you. F you for inspiring mOrBiD to quit. You're nothing but a clout chasing sloot and deadbeat mom. Maybe you should delete your videos bullying, harassing mOrBiD since he's quitting, but you won't since you're a greedy hooah. I hope your channel gets terminated for breaking toss and karma will come back to haunt you. Go to hell, you fat ass manatee. This has to be Shorty, right? It's gotta be. Who else writes like that? Also, inspiring mOrBiD to quit and delete your videos bullying, harassing. Like, the motto of his channel was smash, leave, repeat. His entire channel was having the face of another YouTube creator in every thumbnail, on the screen, every show, to torment all these people that he was talking about. He didn't even really do true crime content. He was just attacking other true crime creators in order to get the attention off of those people. And then I saw that guy, like, I didn't even know this, the glare that's always on his screen that he was always making fun of. The guy streams live to like over 500 people and has, I don't know, what was it, 50,000 subscribers? And that's the guy he's attacking, and he's claiming he's the greatest live streamer of all time. I don't know, man. You got to be out of your mind. You got to be out of your mind. If that's the way you think, he needs a break. And then maybe it's good for him. Maybe he'll take this break and then he'll come back 6 months later and actually make content. But I doubt it. What I think is happening is either what one person said, hey, he's going to try moving, or he's telling us that he's leaving. And then he's just creating a new identity again. And there's going to be a new YouTube channel. I saw in his chat room, a lot of people were leaving their Discord names. So I'm assuming there's probably a Discord server somewhere where they're corralling everybody. And he'd be like, okay, listen, guys, we're going to pretend that I'm gone and that I quit. Because at the end, he's like, don't worry, we'll be back soon. I'm going to pretend that I'm gone and we quit. And then I'm going to make a new name. You're not going to tell anyone. And then we're going to start a whole new channel. And then the mOrBiD and mOrBiD X channels are going to become the new TFATK channels because he can't get away from that. Without the Brendan Schaub content, he has got nothing. So that's what's going to happen. And then I think he's going to create a new channel. And then people are going to find it. And you know what? I'm moving on from him. Like, now we got the finale of him losing the biggest channel, quitting, saying he's not doing it anymore. The Peyton stuff is just, how do you top that? How do you top uncovering that he thought he was dating a 24-year-old TikTok girl and it's a 60-plus-year-old Hispanic woman? That's, you can't top that. And he admits, you know, sexual relations with this thing. I wish I could pull the picture up, but I can't. This is too funny. I made a video too. You know, the dude looks like a lady. Lady looks like a dude. I did a reversal on it. I can't show it to you though, because now this person's copy striking. Imagine catfishing people for 2 years and then playing the victim that your identity is being shown. and doing privacy strikes. Like, wow. The real Peyton that got her identity stolen didn't even do that. She didn't do any strikes or call the police or anything, and she had every right to. She could have called the police on this woman and had her arrested. She did nothing. She just felt bad for her. And then he tried to victimize her. He's like, this is a woman who's very mentally ill, and she, yeah. And even his own fans were like, no, wait, this woman, we're not really with this. They stayed quiet because they didn't want to talk against him. God forbid. They were pissed off too. You could tell. Because even that shorty girl came on and she's like, wait a minute. You're telling me Peyton stabbed us? And then he had to like underhandedly reveal that Peyton is not who he said she was. I'm convinced maybe he knew. Because there's the element of this that she was donating enormous amounts of money and memberships to his channel. I'm convinced that maybe he knew and was willing to allow her to continue catfishing. So it builds his ego up that he gets to present his girlfriend is this like 24-year-old TikTok girl. And she's giving him money. And then in his mind, he's pretending that that's who she is. To do, you know, whatever, use your imagination with. That could be why he went so soft on her. And now he's embarrassed and he has to leave. If we never outed him, or outed her, whatever, he probably would have still been dating her, and he may have not left. That was probably the final straw. May says, Lossless, I took your advice and restreamed his stream with clean. Oh, restreamed. Yeah. Yeah, I was afraid that he was going to delete the stream because it was so embarrassing, but he left it up. Credit to him. I don't know why you should delete that immediately. It's audio of you admitting to... Oh my God. Couldn't imagine. Mrs. Max Lossless, I heard he already set up on Rumble. Okay, good luck on Rumble. He was making 5 cents a video already on YouTube. Now you're gonna have to pay them to stream on there. You're not making money on Rumble. Once you go to Rumble, it's over. You might as well just KYS. Karen had my stream taken down. Lossless to Karen still doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you mean there. Lossless, what program do I use to clip vids? Adobe Suite preferable? Well, Adobe would be Premiere. I actually found this software recently that's actually really crazy and easy to use. It's usually used on the phone. It's called ClipCut or something. And so I never use like TikTok or Instagram. I don't really like using them, but I started to use it to share some of the clips from the episodes and use this app called ClipCut and said, oh, there's a desktop version of it. And I was like, there's no way it's better than Premiere. Like Premiere is something I would use for like, you know, one of the videos I made where like you open the blinds and you could see, you do tracking. And I was like, you can't do that with most other apps. You need to use Premiere or Final Cut or something. But then I started using this CapCut, it's called. And you can do all kinds of crazy things with a click of a button. Like you can go, I want to track this object. And you go track it to this. And it will move everything and automate everything for you. It's all like clicking buttons. And people have this argument like, that's cheating or that's lame to use. And like, even this, like StreamYard, my thinking is, if it makes it easier, it's not necessarily a bad thing. The problem with it is that it lowers the barrier of entry where that anybody can be, you know, go to Best Buy, buy a microphone and be a streamer. That's the problem. But tools that make your life easier is not a bad thing. And like, I'm traditionally someone who uses OBS, but my challenge is if I have like a guy like Rich on, for instance, like tonight, or Mark, they're not internet-y people. They don't hang out in Discords. They're not familiar with Discord voice or video chats. They're not familiar with like how to just jump on a thing quickly. And this is one thing StreamYard does that nothing else does from what I've seen, where you give a person a link and they just click on it from any device and they're on the show. Otherwise, you have to be like, oh, download Zoom and then on your computer, or you could do it on your phone, and then you have to join this session ID, and then, oh, do your microphone settings and do all this. Like, no. Or download Discord and go into this server, and then I'm going to drag you into the... It's too much. It's good for if you do a show where you have just random people jumping on panel, then it makes sense. So it's like a combination. Like, I'm starting this out simple with this crap, this stupid setup. Eventually, I'll build up to something where I'm going to rearrange like the office and have a setup and everything, but I don't think it's necessary. Like, the content comes first and building that up. And then I'm going to take probably StreamYard as just one of the options, using OBS and pipe it through there. That way, if I want to do something where I have a guest and need to easily add them, I'll use this. But you got to pay for this shit monthly. There's a free version, but it sucks. And it's so embarrassing to have that watermark there. Oh my God, Jimmernam, who makes $30,000 a month, apparently, couldn't even pay for the StreamYard Premium. Weird. CapCut, it's called. CAPCUT. Oh, let's see what May was talking about. I couldn't understand what you were saying before. He's accusing us of setting us setting him up, is what you meant. Yet he still talks to Karen. Make that make sense. He literally called Peyton a catfish, but said I was the worst catfish. He didn't just present, he rubbed it in our faces. That is very weird. That's why I think what I said is true. He knew it all along. And he's mad that we outed it because now he has to admit that he was dating that. He's mad that we removed the mask and showed who he's actually dating. See, he probably knew the whole time. That's why he was like, oh, she's a victim and it wasn't fair how she was outed. Was it fair to the girl who she was stealing her identity? I don't think so. Yep. That does it. It's like 1 a.m. here now. Jesus Christ. I only did 3 hours and it's still late. Feels like I've been on forever. And yeah, guys, I'm still getting used to like having a guest. Like it's been a while since I've done this. I'm still getting used to having guests on and trying not to interrupt them. Like, you can't please everybody. Like last episode, I got criticism for over talking people. Like they were like, stop interrupting Mark. A guy left a message. He was so angry. He's like, why were you interrupting Mark so much? And I was like, I felt like majority of the show I was letting Mark talk, like, and letting the callers ask him questions. Then this time I didn't. And then you had people like, well, the story is going on too long, just let it end. And it's like, yeah, I kind of have to strike a balance between being nice and letting someone talk and then also cutting in and knowing when to move it along. And I'm slowly getting back into that. I used to do it all the time and I used to have no trouble doing it, but yeah, it's hard to be rude to someone and just like cut them off like mid-story. So if someone's telling a story, I kind of let them go because I feel like the live stream, this is where we all hang out and then the stuff happens here, but then I can clip it all into videos and then you don't have to watch the whole live stream to get the information. That's why from the last episode, I started making clips of like the highlights, and that's what I will do. The live stream will be here, the stuff will happen, and then the videos will be posted, the highlights of it. That's the mistake I always made in the past. I never did that. I just came on doing live streams every time, and then I never made videos out of the actual interesting content in the middle of it. And then like the member streams that are just for members, that's where the fun stuff. I can't do too much here because got to put some sort of barrier there. If someone is willing to subscribe, they're less likely, but of course there's still going to be people who subscribe just to mess with you. But I already know who you are. I know who you are. You just subscribed and I know who you are already. So don't try it. But those who want to hang out and do all the fun stuff, like I talked about with me and Rich, we concocted the whole plan and had fun. And then we do the stream and we all come up with the plan. And then we get to watch it happen in real time. Yeah. That's the fun stuff. Yeah, that's about does it though. This was fun though. Getting back into the groove of it. Alrighty. To play us out. Thank you everybody for joining. Everybody who joined. I probably should have scheduled this way sooner and told everyone. But at one point we had like, what, 50 people or more? And literally 10 minutes notice. That's pretty good. So I appreciate everybody who showed up, everyone who subscribes, likes, comments. Whether you hated me or not, or you were writing positive or negative stuff, I don't care. Appreciate you for showing up. So thank you guys. Until next time, goodbye.
When my campaign turned to campaign, I burned 8 billion to take off my chains. Burn, baby, burn. Sometimes it hurts, I guess I never learned. So who would make a turn the CEO of the firm? It's now someone's focused on with big worm. Man, a couple wrong turns to fry you forever is a permanent perm. Man, a couple wrong turns to fry you forever is a permanent perm. Who's not entertained by my pain? Who ain't cash a check off my name? When my campaign turned to campaign, I burned 8 billion to take off my chains. Burning like a candlelight. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? All of this. Burning like a candlelight. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? All of this. Close but she distant. I'm in out of 10, get addicted. Yeah. Close but she distant. I'm in out of 10, get addicted. Yeah. Part of my friend, she a little. We had a sunset night on the sun strip. Had the seafood platter go and read it. What can I say? Burning like a candle. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? All of this. Burning like a candle. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? All of this.
On the gun with my niggas drinking out. Pop up at the liquor store, get the neck, then we hit it for the end. Poppin' on the gun with my niggas drinking out. Pop up at the liquor store, get the neck, then we hit it for the end. Alright now, alright now,
Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Shit, I'm tryna fuck some right now, split this little GC. Shit, I'm sitting up here, she just wanna suck my dick. Shit, keep that bread, treat her like sexy red. Shit, throw that little shit back, show her you ain't scared. Fuck her like a porn star, in a car. Fuck her on the jet, yeah, we taking off. Fuck her in the club, on top of my boy. Got her fucked up in the head, the fuck you thought? On the first song right now, on the first song right now, on the first song right now, on the first song right now. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Right, shot wanna fuck, I'ma leave her to the stove.
some. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some. Shot wanna fuck, whoa. I'ma let her hop on some.
Sitting on the cut with my niggas drinking, oh.